Welcome one and all. We return back to the Riyadh Masters for our final group stage matchup of the day, witnessing TSM taking on TALON Esports. An intriguing matchup given the placement of both of these squads right now. TSM tied in their group with several other teams at the very bottom with a 2-4 scoreline, but TALON Esports finding themselves almost at the very top with 4-2, and if they win out today, they'll be very close towards guaranteeing a berth in the upper bracket of the playoffs. We're going to be talking very much about both of these teams as we progress through the evening, and to do so, we've swapped out the panel a little bit. Joining me now will be Fear and Lacoste. BSJ is still here because he's in prison. Fear, welcome back, brother. This is like doing NA DPC all over again, fam.
Just a little bit, yeah, we're getting close.
It's just the teams are slightly better.
Teams are oh.
In the NADPC.
Oh, okay.
Nah. NADPC, the best region in the world. One of the things that's also interesting about this Lacoste is that it's the first time in a while that we've seen TALON Esports playing on the main stage. Obviously, they weren't able to participate at the Bali Major. And normally, when you see a team not being able to go to the last event and then they come to another big marquee event like this one, their performance is a little bit shaky. That has not been the case at all for the side of TALON.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, the way they started this DPC season, getting 3rd place at Lima Major, I think that was a big surprise because, you know, with the Southeast Asian teams, you don't know what to expect, but they really stepped it up. You know, I think they also had a really good just overall like performance. Their run through the Lima Major was pretty impressive. As you said, they were not at the Bali Major, but I still consider them to be the best Southeast Asian team.
One of the things they did that I find interesting here, BSJ, is at the Lima Major and in the prior DPC, we saw them whipping out things that are meta now. They were playing a lot of Morphling. They were the ones that were playing ET support almost every game, Silencer support almost every game. People were flaming them every now and then. What the hell are they doing? They were just ahead of the curve. They had Ice Frog's ideas in their head in advance.
They know when to peak, right around TI, you know, Riyadh Masters time. Perfect timing. I think the biggest thing for this team is that Jabs will always be your 3rd carry. So if that's the case, this is the patch for it. We're no longer in the auras on every single offlaner, every single game meta. Yeah, there's still heroes like Darkseer in the equation, but Jabs, I think this is really a patch for him to shine.
So the kind of heroes that we've seen, obviously, from TSM is that TSM has been interesting to me, given how much better they've done. 2-4 might not seem like such a great result, but given the teams that are in their group, it's fairly impressive overall. They went 1-1 with Rebellion as well, which I think is very good for them at the very end of things. Talk to me about this, Fear. When you watch this team and you think about them and their journey throughout this year, are they peaking at the right time, or do you think there's still a few more things they need to unlock to get the maximum strength?
They peaked a bit early, I would say, early on by beating Rebellion so much in the DPC, but of course when it came to LAN, they never really fully showed up here. So if they want to peak on LAN, I think now would be the time. Day 1, they did really good. They drew, unfortunately, they did lose their last series here, but this squad really has a lot to prove, I think. They can play with the best, they potentially could be the best. They've shown that by beating Rebellion multiple times, but they need to show it on LAN. Can they do it? And this is going to be a big test for them.
One of the things that always happens though is why do actually you're an NA player, right? Why are NA players so good at laning? Like, what is it about this region that enables so much good laners?
Well, I think there's a couple things about NA that NA is really good at. Theory crafting is one of them. And then, of course, early game, thinking about like what little things we can do within the first 10 minutes and really focus on that. Maybe we hyper-focus on that a bit too much and neglect some of the late game, mid-game decision-making things, but that's more instinctual, but you can control your first 10 minutes a lot, and you can draft for it as well, and I think we have a high focus on making sure we draft strong lanes.
Well, Southeast Asia does not have that much focus on drafting the strongest lanes, right? One of the interviews earlier this year, we heard 23 Savage talking about how they win games. It's like, we're going to drag an enemy opponent into the late game and just beat them with experience, no matter what. And they do that reliably, BSJ. And when it is, sometimes it looks so shaky, it looks just so wonky. You're like, what the hell are they doing? Why are these massive plays happening? Why are they feeding? And then 30 minutes later, you're like, oh, I get it. I see where they will go ahead with this.
Yeah, I'd say both these teams are like staples of the playstyle that the region represents. I think a lot of this is in their pubs. Like, I've heard from SCA pubs that basically everyone's picking carries, and then no matter what, when one team's behind, they're all flaming each other, but then they're playing till the absolute end of the game. The games get dragged out to some crazy 50, 60 minutes. I love watching TALON at that stage. Not only do they always draft to scale, but they've been in that situation countless times. So what we end up happening is their execution. It's really good. It's really clutch. I love to see a player like 23 Savage on his very flashy Morphlings, Faceless Voids. He's got his signatures. I love to just I just love to see what they do. I don't know. It makes no sense to me, but eventually it works.
And just to add more to that, you know, he talked about what happens in C. What happens in NA is like why they're focusing on the laning stages.
I was going to say
you were going to say that? Okay, because most of the time, you know, it doesn't even get to the mid and late game. The games are over. This is like
So
fun
true.
experience.
I wasn't going to say. I thought about it.
I can definitely tell you, when we were in Bali, right, I thought to myself, it's memes, it's jokes. I was like, how bad can these SEA pubs be? Yeah, BSJ is not lying. It definitely always goes to the limit. It always goes to the very edge of possibility. But of course, the team that has risen to the top, being able to play that style of Dota, has been TALON Esports. So let's take a look at how they found themselves here at the Riyadh Masters.
Missing the Bali major make us have a good break eventually, and I feel like I'm ready to play more. Yeah, I got to spend time with my family, which is great, and personal life as well. So super ready to play this tournament.
Talon's players are probably, not even probably, they're most likely the best in their roles in Southeast Asia. 23 Savage, every single carry player, not just within Southeast Asia, but even outside of Southeast Asia, considers him to be the gold standard for the carry role in that region.
Jabs is what makes Talon unique. I think he's got a very interesting view on the offlane, and he's definitely the X factor in many of their games.
I prefer playing international opponents. Personally, I think C opponent is not that strong, and I want to play against strong people so I can learn or like make the match become fun. I mean, I'm not telling that we're wrecking them, but it's like sometimes we cannot learn anything from C opponents. Yeah.
When I think of Talon, I think of 3 farming cores. So most notably, the one that stands out to me is Jabs in 23 Savage. I feel like Jabs is a player who is dedicated to always being a 3rd scaling core. It's a SEA pub specialty, and what I worry about with this team is that if they can make it to the 40-minute mark, then they're going to outscale you. They out-team fight you. Their execution is on point. But if they play against some of these faster tempo teams, then they usually don't get there, and that's the concern I have for them.
Yeah, so when we came back from ESL, we just stay at home for like 10 days, and during the 10 day I just have a really good break because, you know, before that the schedule was really tough and we never stopped playing Dota.
Biggest hurdles for this team is going to be consistency. Like what I see from them is their inability to get out of lanes, as well as really enable all 3 of their cores who are going to farm. Like, you know exactly what your cores are going to do, and it's a matter of whether or not you can get them off the ground running better than the enemy team can shut you down.
This is the land of hero, but it will be known as the land of Talon.
TALON Esports, a team that I'm very excited to witness playing here on the main stage. They are 4-2 in the group all of a sudden. One of the things that I've noticed watching their games here, Lacoste, is they're probably the team that has been abusing, and I use the word abuse specifically, the Twin Gates the most. My goodness, this team is so annoying. If you're a carry player right now, this must just be an awful matchup, knowing that they're going to come through there and try and kill you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are a couple of heroes that do, as you say, abuse these Twin Gates early on. That's definitely like Monkey King, who can easily just hop on the tree, go through the Twin Gates, go to the other side. But yeah, it's the environment that they kind of make to play Dota in. And they thrive in chaos, and these Twin Gates, it's made for Southeast Asia pretty much.
Yep, that's the reason that we've seen doing the most work with these kind of things. One thing I also find very intriguing, we spoke about this in the previous game, BSJ, about Morphling as a hero being nerfed somewhat, right? In this game, we probably have, from each respective region, the marquee Morphling players, right? You have Tomato from North America, you have 23 Savage here, even the Medusas as well, very high level, right? We're probably going to see them being played against both of these teams, so both of them will have studied these heroes. What options are we anticipating in terms of both draft and map movements to try and contain these kind of heroes?
I honestly don't know if Morph needs to be necessarily worried about being contained. We saw last game the effect of that Ags nerf. Like, that 10% stat change was what kept Faceless Void alive long enough that he was chased to the distance that Morphling Shiro ended up dying for trading the kill. So this is a hero that these teams are the few that are going to make it work, but I think it's just a hero you have on your radar, and you just need to make sure it doesn't have a perfect game rather than worrying about like preemptively countering it or anything like that.
So Fear, when we did NA all the way back in January, right, one of the things that we kept talking about was Brawl. At the time, he was sort of carrying the team on his back, right? Yeah. And he was doing really, really well. Stomping, even in games they lost, he was always winning his lane, right? Unfortunately, the same is also true of Mikoto on the side of TALON Esports, right? So what do you think this mid lane matchup is going to look like between these two?
Makoto's been known for his mid lane mechanics. I don't really see anyone beat this guy like really hard in the mid lane. So Bryle's not gonna have that opportunity unless he like really shows up today to like crush Makoto in lane, because nobody can do it. Even like when Quinn was unstoppable, no one can beat him in lane. Makoto was that one guy that could do it. Same with Nisha, right? So you're not gonna beat him that way. But Bryle does have a specific set of heroes that he's really good at that are good in this meta, like the Leshrac, for example. You know, Whitemon loves playing the Io as well. So that's something to really take a look at, is what can Bryle carry the game with? Because Kasane, he loves the Zoo, right? He loves playing the Zoo. He's trying to branch out a little bit in that regard. And you can't shut down Tomato. His hero pool is just way too big. So just making sure Bryle doesn't have a hero that can just get out of control will be the main focus, I think.
And I'm thinking for Makoto, they're probably going to end up picking Puck a lot, right? That's one of the heroes you've seen steadily and slowly.
Some Spirit, a Puck, like he's good at all these like pick up a rune, make something happen on the map type of heroes. He's super good at that.
Makoto is not just super good at that, he's really good at a lot of things, honestly. TALON Esports is terrifying to watch right now. And if you thought that Southeast Asia was going to be a pushover, nah, that's not happening. TALON has been carrying this region on their back, and they're going to continue to do so here at the Riyadh Masters. And hopefully, they can make this game against TSM as entertaining as possible. We are about to get into it. So to do so, we need some teams to bring them out. We have Tsunami, we have Fancy, we have some incredible Dota. Take it away, boys.
Welcome everyone to the final series of the day here on the group stage, day number 2 at Riyadh Masters.
حياكم الله أعزائنا المشاهدين في مباراتنا الأخيرة في ثاني يوم من الجروب ستيج في رياض ماسترز.
And what a treat it is to have these two teams in specific, because these were two teams that we haven't seen not only on stage, but at an international event for a while because they weren't at Bali.
زي ما تشوفون المباراة هذه راح تكون بين فريقين لهم فترة طويلة ما شفناهم في أي ميجر ولا حضروا لان ايفنت، فهم جايين اليوم يتقمون من الشيء هذا ويثبتون أنفسهم على المسرح.
The first one maybe having a bit of a chip on their shoulder from North America, a lot of people being critical of how they're able to make these achievements. I think they've been taking their time off wisely and coming into this event well prepared.
فالفريق الأول اللي راح يكون متواجد معنا في المسرح لهم فترة كثير من الناس يتكلمون عنهم انهم ما قد جابوا شيء كويس، وكل الانجازات اللي جابوها يعني في سبب يخليهم يجيبونها بس الى الان ما حد يعرفه، لكن الانتقاد هذا راح يقدرون انهم يثبتون انفسهم في المرة هذه لانه عندهم الفرصة.
Let's bring them out. TSM! This North American team has been struggling with relevance on an international stage, but at this point, here in Riyadh, it seems like they're exceeding expectations, making it through the play-in stage, and right now, currently tied for the top of their group.
فريق TSM تواجد معنا في المسرح. هذا الفريق صحيح انه زي ما قلنا ما شارك في المياجر الاخيره، لكن في هذه المره في رياض ماسترز قادر انه يثبت نفسه، خصوصا انه هذا الروستر حتى الان ادائهم جدا ممتاز في الجروب ستيج، بيكون عندهم فرصه جدا عاليه انهم يطلعون الى البلاي اوفز في حال استمر ادائهم على نفس المستوى.
I have confidence in their coordination specifically. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. Meanwhile, though, let's see how coordinated their opponents are.
خصومهم راح يطلعون الآن على المسرح، كلكم تعرفون مين الفريق هذا يعتبر الأفضل في منطقة جنوب آسيا، خلونا نتعرف عليهم. الفريق الأفضل في جنوب آسيا، تالون. فريق تالون تواجد معنا في المسرح اليوم، وأدائهم جدا متميز في الجروب ستيج حتى اللحظة هذه. حطوا ببالكم أعزائنا المشاهدين إنه ما بقى عندنا إلا يومين فقط ونبي نعرف إن اللي يوصل للبلاي أوفس، وحتى الآن هم في المركز الثاني متعادلين فيه وعندهم فرصة عالية إنهم يوصلون إلى البلاي أوفس.
The shining star of the Southeast Asian region and the only team from there to qualify directly to Seattle. They had some time off during the Bali Major, but here they're looking to leave an impression. And also a little bit of a former ex-teammate situation. Whitemon and 23 Savage, formerly on T1, now going against each other.
الآن بيكون عندنا شيء جدا مميز في المباراة هذه أيضا. وايتمان من فريق تالون اللي بيكون متواجد في هذه المباراة ضد 23 سافج اللي كان معاه كتيميت في فريق T1. الآن بنشوفهم ضد بعض، بنشوف ايش المواجهة اللي بتكون بينهم. مرة متحمسين للمباراة هذه.
All right then, my friends, let's settle it on the stage. Let's settle it in the game. Let's get ready for game number 1.
خلونا نصير جاهزين للجيم الأول أعزائنا المشاهدين، لأن زي ما احنا عارفين كل الفريقين لهم فترة ما أدوا أداء كويس، ما كانوا متواجدين في بالي ميجر، واليوم جايين يعوضون عن الشيء هذا في رياض ماسترز. توفيق لهم. على طول نبدأ في الجيم الأول.
Game 1 about to kick off. Thank you very much, Tsunami and Fancy. Very excited about this matchup. And BSJ, I want to pick off something that Fia mentioned. Kasane, normally known for his Zoo Heroes, but Zoo Heroes kind of bad right now. Beastmaster not looking so hot in this tournament. Broodmother, despite being banned every game, enjoys a 42% win rate. Visage, even worse. You know, it's like been picked a little bit less with 11 games, 45% win rate. However, Lycan, in my opinion, Kasane's best hero, 77% win rate coming into the second day of the groups. Why are teams not picking this hero up more often? I know you're an enjoyer.
I'm still waiting for it, man. You sold me when you told me the win rate, and I also had like that inkling going into the tournament that hero was going to see some play. But we see TSM, it's interesting. Their first 3 games of this tournament, they gave Kasane a summons hero. They gave him Visage, they gave him Brood twice, and suddenly the last 3 games we've seen Darkseer, Underlord, Tide. So it's an immediate shift of maybe this isn't quite what we're thinking. So maybe they've potentially abandoned summon heroes as a concept, and maybe they're not going to give the Lycan the chance that we think it deserves.
I feel like that hero definitely deserves a little bit more player cost. And overall, I do think, what do you think has gone differently that have disabled the Zoo medal? Outside of like the auras changing, has that just been it? Like these items no longer being viable suddenly makes the entire playstyle not a situational thing anymore?
Some of the also, I'd say, heroes got figured out. It takes a bit of a time. You know, the Zoo meta has been going on for a really long time, so people are still trying to experiment with some of these picks. And I mean, you'll still see them. There's no doubt about it. But the big one's definitely Lycan. I feel like this hero, especially because it's a flex pick, since he's being changed to being universal hero, so he can be played from the safe lane. We've seen it being played from position 1 multiple times by Team Liquid, and from the off lane. That gives you a little bit of a flex in the draft as well.
One of the things that also going to be very flexible here, Fear, is going to be this Meepo. Jabs has played it to very good effect.
He's a Zoo hero. We can count him as a Zoo hero, right? He summons himself.
Imagine if a real Zoo hero like Lycan could just throw his wolves on top of him. And
Yeah, I mean, the difference between Meepo and those other Zoo heroes is that Meepo doesn't buy the auras. If you think of like the Beastmaster, he's built on auras of Visage, same thing, even like the Sunbeam Helm into drums all the time. Meepo, he's more of a carry offlaner. So he's not going to really enable the team that much to group up. He's just going to take the net worth and he's going to take the show himself, which is a fine play style, but your mid laner has to really make that work. That's like the big thing. Your mid laner has to make tons of space so your carry can farm. He's always going to do that. Of course, your carry is going to be a little bit less greedy. You have a Meepo off lane, but your mid and carry, they're going to have to be sacrificed a little bit. Then Jabs is going to take that responsibility of like, I have to carry the game now. I am the carry. So that's just how it's going to be.
Well, to be fair, even a game without Meepo, Jabs has just decided, I am the carry. He's the one that always is going to be soaking up an incredible amount of net worth. That's just how he rolls. That's just what he does. TSM will be fully aware of this as well. So as we are about to get into this game, very intrigued and very excited to see what ideas will be presented. I'm expecting more Snapfire bans because that's just been the way the tournament's been going, more Rubik bans. Like, I hope actually that these teams let Brood through. Because honestly, I've been struggling, Lacoste, to see the impact of Brood to the degree that it's been banned out. There's like 2 or 3 games here where I'm like, oh wow, okay, this makes sense, but even then, it doesn't feel like it's the OP, it has to be pick bad every game hero.
The hero did get nerfed a few times in a row for a good reason. The hero was OP. It was Imba, as we like to call it. But yeah, also figured out. I think it comes down to that, because if there's a hero that is being heavily contested in every single game, you know that people are going to start to theory craft more, go deeper into the hero pool, trying to figure out what's really good. The big one that I'm looking into is, I think this is going to be like Morphling from the previous patch, is IO Lash. Like, how do you beat this combo?
Yeah, IO is looking quite terrifying right now. It's creeping up on a 70% win rate despite being picked in quite a few games. So I do think that's a hero definitely going to end up seeing at the very least banned or picked in this series. I do think first phase ban makes a bit more sense, and indeed it has been removed. And Talon did the right thing. They realized that TSM, to your point, BSJ, they not only play this hero in the off lane, they played it safe lane as well on TSM. Tomorrow and Kasane have rolled with the Lycan. Makes sense to remove it in the first phase.
Yeah, that's even more of a shock to me than seeing it picked in the game, to see it that elevated into the draft when it hasn't been picked by either team at all. But one thing I'd like to say about like the lore of these heroes that have come into the meta that I found so interesting in the Bali Major was that I found out that, first off, pubs tell you a lot about what's going to happen in the meta. Like these are the heroes that the pro players are playing. So a lot of times you can base the meta off of the European pubs, because that's where Eastern Europe and Western Europe players play, and that's generally the best results region so far this year. But with the Bali Major happening in SCA, that is where everyone in the world was exposed to like 5 or 6 Meepo spammers in the SCA region that were rushing this Atos, and that was where pretty much all these teams got this idea for this hero. So I find it so funny that as we're moving these international play throughout the course of different regions of the world, that's going to affect even a tournament later. That in this case, we're seeing so much Meepo crop up.
Well, we have a draft now available towards us. We can witness some of these heroes. Unfortunately for me, we do see an early Broodmother emerging. This is going to be their 6th game on TSM with Brood. They've only won 1 of the previous ones. They're 1-4. So Fear, talk me through it. What's the idea from Moonmeander for going for this, despite it not being successful so far?
Sometimes you just got to stick to your guns, you know? Like, they practiced it, they thought it was good, and they're just going to ride and die with it. It hasn't been working yet, but surely this time will.
I respect it. I respect the idea of going for the same hero multiple times. This is the one that I don't like. I've seen so many Chen games at this tournament, and seems like the hero is just not doing too hot. Last time I checked, it was like 25% win rate.
Yeah, 20 games, 25% win rate.
Yeah, there we go. So no one picked it then.
It's yeah, people have tried. They're like, we're gonna make this work, and it's just not working. So very low win rate heroes to emerge here. I mean, the idea is certainly there, right? There's a lot of stuff on the map. You can play very, very quickly, nominally. But Talon, they have this Bat Rider, they have this Undying, BSJ. Do they have ways to be able to clear out some of these summons from TSM?
I wouldn't say they necessarily have to worry about the summons as much as it is the fact that they can stop the push. Like, whoever's in frontline sieging, yes, they can absolutely make sure the summons don't hit the tower with these heroes, the Tombstone on the ground, Firefly. But because you have the lasso, it makes it so that you can just address a 5-man push by removing one guy from the equation. And these summons heroes playing off of auras, playing off of that 5-man ball, that type of strategy is way less potent when you just remove one key component of it.
And now this Elder Titan ban from the first phase makes a lot of sense. It's also hero that Talon loves to run, even like pre-Riyadh Masters. They even showed it at the start of the DPC. If we go way back to Lima Major, they ran it a couple of times as far as I remember, and it looked really, really good.
Yep. Elder Titan was being played quite a lot early on. This is going to be, I think, their 3rd game with this here at the tournament, and Q is one of his most played heroes just in general of all time. Another hero he's played a lot has been this Tiny, but I guess they might not need it if they already have the Bat Rider. Yeah. Question for y'all, actually. Why do we not see Bat Rider mid? I know, Fear, you've not been a fan. Like, what changed about the hero that's not viable mid no more?
Just the sticky napalm changes. Like, right now the hero, he has good trading, he has good HP, good damage, which is fine and all, but what made Bat so strong is you could just stack the stickies. Eventually it was unlaneable. Now you play a lot more around the Flame Break and the Firefly, which isn't really utilized very well. A lot more heroes become viable to lane against us in the mid lane, which makes them a far less pick there. Well, it comes to the support role, he can trade with pretty much any other support, and at the same time there's always that kill threat. You get the Flame Blade back plus the Blood Grenade, all of a sudden one other hero attacking on top of that can be a kill.
Talon also have been abusing some movements through the Twin Gates as mentioned, and we've seen Bat Rider being very, very good at that. Dogs here taken out, no Naga Siren. Man, I really wish we saw more Naga. That hero feels also a little bit underplayed, but it keeps getting banned second phase, I guess.
It's a super strong hero, because some of these heroes got kind of nerfed in the last 2 patches, but the Naga was not touched, and she feels super strong, especially because map is like 40% bigger, and not being able to, like, you don't show on the map and you're still able to push all the lanes, get the farm, you have ulti that can reset, so most of the time you're in a relatively safe spot where you can farm, and 15-20 minutes into the game, if they don't have the carry that can match the farm, you'll have an extra item, and this is your big timing.
Yeah, Naga kind of babysits the map for your team, and I think another hero that we've been seeing a lot of is Terrorblade, which I'm surprised did not get banned out by TSM, because Talon loves that hero. It's absolutely great to pick in lane versus the Broodmother, conceptually good against Chen as well. I wouldn't even be too surprised if Talon just whips it out on this next pick, because it's not the best hero versus Batrider, maybe they don't believe TSM will pick it themselves, so they could always save it for later.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in this draft, but right now it's just like you have this Brood Chen opening, which is pretty solid versus Undying, and we're going to get the Terrorblade right away. Now all of a sudden TSM is in a spot now where they get to see the carry versus carry matchup. Do they want to prioritize picking the carry for the game here without seeing the lane, or are they going to pick the mid without being able to see the lane matchup as well, as they're going to have to select one of them here?
Yeah, I'm looking at 2 options because they have very limited lockdown outside of Talon. PL always going to be a good one, and Slark. BSJ, I know he's big on Slark, but when you see these 3 heroes, you're like, man, I love to play into that.
Those 2 heroes, you know your carries.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a carry player, but
I was thinking.
Okay, this is also a good option.
I don't like that at all.
You don't?
Why not?
We saw what happened is the Drow was yesterday against a Medusa. Very similar idea to the Terrorblade, where you are a stationary ranged hero in fights that Drow outranges and kills you. So in the 1v1 matchup, absolutely fantastic. The problem is when we saw the Drow yesterday, it was against Bat, it was against Storm. In this case, we might be looking at like a Puck or something of that nature. That just makes it so Drow is not going to be able to stand there and hit the Terrorblade. So now that I would say Drow is the main counter to Terrorblade in the draft, how is TSM going to make this Drow, or enable this Drow to stand her ground and hit? Right now I'm skeptical, but I do like the fact that they paired it immediately with the Primal Beast, because that hero is going to draw a lot of attention.
It's a lot of big bodies in front. You have Broodmother, depending like which item build you're going to go. In this one, you have Chen with the creep, some extra sustain coming out from the Hand of God, and of course Primal Beast in these front lines. So he's going to be soaking up a lot of attention, a lot of damage as well. But on the other side, inside of Talon, Timbersaw pick looks like looks like a really good Timber game.
Yeah. I think when it comes to Drow Ranger in particular, to me, this is probably one of the high skill heroes in Dota, because it's all about positioning. If you mess up your positioning just a little bit, this hero looks like garbage. But if you know exactly when to enter a fight and when to back out, this hero can look really good. And I've watched a lot of Tomato, and his instincts of like how to itemize and where to be in the fights is really good. So he's probably just very confident that he'll have the positioning, even if it's just as simple as maybe I have to focus the Bat first, or wait until Bat uses Lasso, then I can enter. He just has to have really good decision making here.
Timbersaw, one thing I am concerned about though is that there's still space for like an Ember. Well, this is Makoto. He's not going to play. He's either playing Ember, Puck, or Storm, right? One of these 3 in tandem with the Timbersaw and the Batrider. Can he even position well enough to try and avoid all these heroes clustering onto him at once?
It's going to be tough, I think, for sure. It's going to be a lot up to the Brood as well to take up the space here. Like, the Aura Brood is kind of dead. They're just moving more into this right-click build. If Kasane can get to that point where he's an additional threat on the map, that'll make the game a lot easier for the Drow to make moves around the map. And we'll have to see where this Primal ends up going, because I do know Ahri can play it, but can also go to the mid lane as well. So it's a little bit of a flex pick there. They have a little bit of time to decide.
I don't know. I'm just seeing Spirit Breaker potentially for Talon on the mid lane, especially if it's against Primal Beast. There was like a game that we had during one of those DPC, I think this year or previous year, where it was like, this never happened, and I feel like Makoto could bang it out, because in terms of, like, they need something from the mid lane that's going to be aggressive, like, all over the place, because Terrorblade, he's the, like, true carry of this game, and Timber can also, it's a relatively free Timbersaw overall game, so they just need something that's going to go in and make the space.
I will say that I totally agree with everything you just said, but we're looking at Talon here. I feel like we might even get like a TA mid or something, you know, like something that's just going to also farm, because I don't think there's any real, like, as long as the mid laner draws attention to themselves by forcing you to either gank them or commit resources, I think TA is very good at like controlling that area. As long as Terrorblade's not getting ganked by a Broodmother level 6 pressure on the tower, flanked by the Primal Beast mid, and then the Chen coming through the Twin Gate, then I'm feeling really good for Talon's game plan right now. And I think if they choose a third core, this would be one of the few games that I don't actually, that I full on believe they will make it to the late game that they're looking for.
So we wind out with the techies for Ahri here. So here's an outside shot for you guys. How about, I know Mikoto doesn't normally play this Timber Sword in the mid lane, but what if we put Timber mid, we have Jabs playing the Batrider, and then we round this off with a Clockwork, because I feel like Clockwork could be very good for the side of Talon Esports.
It's not bad. I'm on the same train of thought of they'll probably get another jump like a Queen of Pain, but Clockwork is very good versus the Primal as well. But do you want to put the Timber mid? Is that something he is comfortable with? It's a fine matchup.
He probably plays just as play Storm, honestly.
It would be good enough. Like I think if they did that, I would not be sad for Talon's lineup whatsoever. But I do think they need that additional one hero that maybe can pressure the Primal in lane or has an additional jump.
Tiny, maybe? I always like Tiny.
I'm looking at the Wind Ranger.
Get Tiny out of my game. I don't, I don't want to see that mid anymore.
Damn it. Because why I'm looking at the Wind Ranger is very limited amount of lockdown, and she can like lock onto a target, easily find this Drow Ranger. I just like damage output. I think they need something with the lower cooldown just to be able to play the game, because Terrorblade, you know that he's gonna get the farm no matter what.
Yeah, he's just playing Storm. Put us out of our misery, do the right thing, yo. Get the Storm in. Sunby and them are talking about it, but we're probably getting that massive jump from Mikoto in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, he likes playing co-op. It could be an okay game for it as well. Not a free.
Whoa!
Predicted.
That I'm giving you. That's a sick pick. I mean, like in terms of prediction.
We need a new host, and King one out of us three.
Yeah, we have 4 analysts. Where's our host?
Wow. All right, so buttress me here, BSJ. When you look at this Clockwork pick coming out, what else can it accomplish here? What does it do to tie together this draft of Talon?
Well, I think you literally said exactly what it did.
Just repeat it. Look smart. Repeat it, BSJ.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is the total original thought coming only from me. What this does is that you suddenly turn this Batrider into a core. His job is to jump the Drow. It's pretty free Batrider game in the sense that they don't have any like instant lockdown from the side of TSM, so abusing the free pathing, the mobility on the map. And then Clockwork, on the other hand, he gives you a hero that just throws himself in, and it cancels the BKB ulti from Primal. It allows you to find like the techies and disrupt the combo that just TSM has. Primal going in, follow up between the Drow and the techies. You sold me when you said it. I just didn't think they were going to do it, and now I'm really excited about this pick, honestly.
So, Lacoste, when you see this draft of TSM, what do they need to accomplish with their game to ensure that they can win this one out, given how rough some of these direct matchups into the Drow Ranger can be?
Just the Drow Ranger, I feel like this hero is very easily gankable, especially because you're playing into Timber from the mid lane, so he's going to be getting a lot of levels early on. This is also Clockwork plus Batrider. This is a killer lane. They like to isolate one hero, so as a Chen, as a Drow Ranger, if they get on top of you, like this is not an easy lane by any means for TSM, this safe lane with the Chen and Drow Ranger, so I want to see how much Tomato is going to be able to get out of it.
And this Chen hero has not been winning for the most part here. So 2 things. Firstly, why do you think it is that the hero has been struggling so much in this contemporary meta? And what can they do with this draft to make the hero shine a bit more?
Well, this game is going to determine whether TSM is winning or losing with the hero, because he's at 50% win rate with it right now. So it really just comes down to hitting your timings, but I think it's going to be a little bit difficult. I think the Clock pick is pretty brilliant because they can rotate to the mid lane quite easily with the Timber Saw. They should win potentially 3 lanes here. We all see how that goes here, but that bottom lane is going to be super important for me to watch. Like, can this Chen Drow do something against the Clockwork and the Batrider? If they can, that'll buy them a lot of extra time.
Well, we're going to be witnessing exactly what they're able to accomplish on the side of TSM with their draft. Whether these heroes can finally attain a win rate above positivity here at the Riyadh Masters. To find out, we send it over for the last time tonight to Kezu and Sunsfan. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you, Snare. We got game number. Man, I never realized Undying has a limp like that. Holy, that really took me out of my intro. That is some serious issues. That guy, he needs to go to a chiropractor or something. Anyway, TSM versus Talon, game number 1 of this 2-game series of the group stage. Coming into this, Talon 4-2, TSM 2-4. So inversed We'll see if TSM can try and bounce back, as we're going to see a Drow Ranger. And you were looking this up, Mr. Kezu.
Yes.
The most exciting part about this game.
The Glacier!
The Glacier has been purchased by Tomato in every game he's played at around the 21, 22-minute mark. They might have a first blood. Sticky Bomb connects onto Jazz. He gets the Firefly into the low ground, but Bryle's there with the Onslaught. They're not going to have the damage output to actually finish the kill. And Bryle turning into a baby because he's not happy about the turn of events here. Also, talk to me about Glacier.
Before I talk about Glacier, I think you just called him Jazz.
What did I say?
Jazz.
Jazz?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Jabs.
The battle
I called Bryle Jabs?
No, never mind. Anyway.
No, I need to hear this now. Go ahead. Correct me.
His name is Jabs, right?
Yeah.
I think it said Jazz. They're going on Jazz.
Huh? Sure.
Anyway.
Well, thank you. That's a very irrelevant thing to correct me on, but thank you.
Shut up.
Very Cinderin-like of you. Kasane getting harassed by Q. This is the last pick Clockwork. And yeah, talk to me about the lineups and then Glacier, of course, afterwards.
Of course, the Glacier. I think the two carry matchups, I don't really care about them for too much, because how this game is going to go, I think it's decided by the 4 heroes around these 2 heroes. It's going to be a lot on can the Bad Rider Timber Clock go in enough to dissuade the Drow from really hitting, and at the same time, I think Tomato can only have a good game if his team kind of allow him to push forward. But I do think out of the 2 heroes, TB helps his team to get to that state more. He's more tanky, he can stand his ground easier, he has turnaround potential, he helps you with the map. So I think Tomato is in for a little bit of a hard time, as he's laning into Bad Rider Clock. That's not good. You're playing into Clock with Hookshot. And Timber is also really annoying because he just gets in your face. So, but then when the Glacier comes out,
yes,
that's where everything will turn around.
Okay. And why is Glacier so good this game?
Because he gets attack range to hide even more.
Oh.
And then he can let it go.
Very good. That's a crazy cosmetic on Kasane.
What, this pumpkin spider?
Pumpkin spider? I'm not... Yeah, it's actually a cool... I actually like that cosmetic, surprisingly. Okay, I do want to talk about a couple of supports. We're going to see the Blood Grenade onto Kasane. Sticky Bomb is going to connect, but it's not going to be enough to save the Pumpkin Spider this time. So First Blood goes the way of Talon. Talk to me about, let's start with techies. This here was nerfed in the last patch.
Yep.
I was reading the notes the other day, again, for the 5th time, of course.
Yes.
It didn't seem too drastic. It's like 3 base damage reduction, the Sticky Bomb, the cooldown slightly nerfed. And I think that's it.
I think maybe 1 base armor too, but something like that. So I think the hero's still very good. I'm surprised.
It was like a first pick, first ban for a long time, so I'm surprised it's just fallen
I definitely
off.
think it died off perhaps a little too much, so the hero's still very, very playable. Or I mean, Ari will show it to us, but you know, the hero you have very high range, you have pretty good damage, but the lane that they're going into is definitely like a very classic lane. Undying, you just frontline for the TB. He can also help you with Reflection. Then he has meta with very high damage, so they're going to have to be more careful up here, because all you're playing for here as the Brood is to get level 6 as fast as possible, because then you take over the lane. None of them can be here. Maybe then later you need the Timber Saw to come up here, but damn, they're applying a lot of pressure.
Yep, Tombstone place this time. Kasane trying to outrun the meta, but he's not going to find his way to the tower, and the deny comes out from Ollie. That limp is not going to prevent him from denying his Tombstone in time. God, something's wrong with his leg. But anyway, speaking of which, that's the other hero I want to talk about is Undying, because he was also nerfed in the last patch. That base HP regen slightly lowered, and of course, Grab Ally removed, which I will still be calling a Grab Ally, by the way, because technically you're grabbing yourself, which is an ally.
It's still kind of Grab Ally, so yeah. He's fine. You can still yell it all you want.
I will.
Oh, Lotus.
Yeah, White Mom will still get it. But yeah, do you think Undying has also... I mean, we've been seeing it banned still, so it still seems like it's an upper echelon type support.
Still a very good hero, right? Like the fact that you're a good laner, you can frontline for your carry. I think every carry in the game literally loves having Undying, especially these range carries that want to get out of the lane early on. Medusas, Drows, TBs. You have great teamfight, you still have the save mechanism later on in the game. And the fact that you can pair up your Tombstone always with this Blood Grenade, like this hero needed this little bit more. And I think this item really pushed the hero like over the edge as well.
So yeah, with the Tombstone, with that eventual shard that I'm sure we'll see, because everybody loves going for those Tormentors, basically can't use it on a stun target, right? Like you can't have... Undying himself can't grab somebody. You have to put it yourself in there, essentially. Yes. Or if you do place the tombstone on top of somebody, then it will automatically bunker them.
Yes. So you still kind of have the same. It's not as stupid as before, where you're just like, oh, my tombstone is here. Come over, everyone.
Yeah, like you can't counter dual Chronosphere, things like.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could counter Chronosphere still, if you put the tombstone on top of him during Chrono.
Yeah, you still kind of just more. You may have to hold your tomb now instead of having it like kind of free play some people run there. But I have to point out that this top lane, Kasane is not happy.
Yeah.
And this lane, it can go this badly, but you always want to prevent it from being this way, because this is a stomp. So Talon are going to try to just continue to push this forward, but every single deny in this lane is so important to just delay Kasane's timing.
Another tombstone. This time their target is Ahri, who is going to use Blast Off to try and get away, still getting pursued by the zombies and whatnot. Well, I guess he did kill them all, but the decay is more than enough. So another kill going the way of Talon in this top lane. Like you said, they are absolutely dominating.
Yeah. Second level in decay, so you can actually get the last hit with it, as Bryle just doing a classic thing here in the mid lane, where if you don't really want to lane, just pull it into the side. Looks like Makoto's going to try to steal some of these hard camp creeps. Was not successful. Nice job by Bryle here. As look, even Q is here to try and put some pressure on. I mean, their side lanes are doing great. As a matter of fact, all of their lanes are doing great.
Yeah. You can see Jabs 27-4 in CS, so that's doubling the CS of the opposing offlaner, if you want to look at it that way. So yeah, definitely having free games in every lane for the time being. I mean, what can TSM do to try to counteract this? Do they need... Because Kasane just has to be given space in some regard.
Yeah. I think it's about levels, as Arya looks like he might just be a dead hero over here. For TSM, it's going to be... I think it's only Bryle that can really do anything. Other than that, it is just getting levels and waiting. So for them, it's Bryle in a bit of trouble.
Oh boy, very annoying. Had to use all his mana to try to get to this rune, and he's not even going to find it. Bryle will be forced out, and even Ollie's here.
This is very annoying. He doesn't have enough mana to like TP out. He just has to, suicide? Or like,
there's no way he's going to suicide.
Honestly, I don't think it's that bad of a play.
Really?
Yeah, he has nothing.
Blood grenade onto Jab, slow to a crawl. Gust is there from Tomato. To the multi-shot. They really need this kill. They really need it. Creeps are continuing to pursue. The little mini babies come out with the shards, but not able to find their target, so Jabs will get away.
Can we look back at Bryle?
Yeah, okay,
he ended up running around for 40 seconds, and now he TP base. Right. We'll have to...
Level 5 still, by the way.
Yeah, he'll make to have his way mid. The problem is that his side lanes are... I mean, Tomato's doing well, but it's more the fact that if you want to help your brood lane...
This is terrible.
They're losing both runes.
Oh, this is terrible. Talon get both Wisdom runes. Ollie's going to be able to TP out. TSM, nothing is going their way right now.
Yeah, the game's going to slow down a little bit, as here, or for TSM, they should hope it slows down a bit. You're going to lose your mid tower, so Makoto is kind of a no-go. They're not going to be able to kill him. You need Bryle to get 6. Maybe you can get a surprise kill up top, but I think 23 will be ready as Q.
Yep, inside the cogs, and the battery assault, one of the best counters to this hero. Bryle killed and still level 5, by the way. Makoto, I mean, but by the time he's up, might be level 8.
Makoto's TPing bottom, actually. So Tomato's going to have to walk it off, maybe twin gate top, or has to be very careful here.
Yeah, Makoto has the illusion rune as well. Actually, it's going to pop, I think, on its own, so won't be able to counteract the gust, although Might Wand's going to be spotted. Just TP, nothing to disrupt him here, so we'll be able to get away, and Tomato in the Roche Pit will have the same fate. But this will open up the bottom lane now, so Talon will likely try to go for that, although Might Wand was greeted by 23 Savage, but will somehow live to tell the tale.
One of the big problems that you run into in Pro Dota right now is if you can pressure the enemy tower, even if it's just one, like mid tower or their safe lane tower, but you get to hold your own kind of like this, where 23 Savage is still in the area, your map starts looking so damn nice. So as for TSM, they're going to have to look to open it up later. They have Chen around here, maybe Kasane can get closer to his 6, but losing 2 of your towers this early on, this is going to make 23 Savage's life very, very easy to play around the map.
Yeah, Kasane is second net worth on his team, so he's come back a bit. Of course, the problem is the top 2 net worths are far away and ahead right now for Talon.
Well, he's closing in on his level 6, so he'll be able to help the map a little bit. As yeah, I really like this map movement from Talon. I think parking your Timber here is... Honestly, until Ahri gets level 6 or you put Bryle here, I don't see how you open up this tower. So I think it's very likely we see TSM kind of back off. Kasane just like farms the sides, you wait for some levels, because yeah, this Timber is not pressurable, not with these heroes.
The fact that Bryle's had to jungle in Talon's jungle just to get some XP right now, get some space. If the hook shot come out from Q, he's already level 6 at 9.5 minutes. And Ari will likely fall. Indeed he does. Q is going to be just fine as well. Tombstone is placed there. Another deny coming out, potentially.
That's the second deny, I believe. Okay, so Jabs is the only one maybe not having a perfect game, but still more than fine. Good levels, queuing up the Boots of Travel, I think, and especially with this type of map, yeah. Definitely can't fault him for doing that as... Yeah, I mean, look how aggressive Talon are playing on the map. A lot of Qs moving right now, the aggressive ward as well. Finds Ari again.
Yeah, I mean, Ari's level 3.
Yeah.
This is looking really rough. Bryle, I mean, the pulverize is instantly canceled. That was very ambitious. The battery saw very good, like we said. And Bryle will die. I'm not sure what that was. Maybe they're a bit tilted here, but this is just a rough start for TSM. Down 7-0, 5K net worth deficit at 10 minutes.
Yeah, 0-7 with a 5K is...
I don't know if we're going to see Glacier.
That's... yeah, we might be getting ahead of ourselves.
Please, Tomato. I mean, he is farming decently well.
Yeah, he's going to drop himself a ward. I think it is important that when you're down this much, there's not really much you can force. You wait for Talon to potentially overplay. Like, you protect the areas that you can. When they overmove with any type of heroes, you try to kill them and punish them. But I think Ari needs levels. So you need to bank on Talon overplaying, or you just need to give Ari a lane. Because you don't have the damage to cut through these heroes right now.
Hook shot finds his target, this time Whitemon. And you can see the combo between the two robots, pretty fierce.
Oh, they're just making it look very easy right now on the map. So maybe Kasane can end taking this top tower. I think, nope. Mikoto's like, nah, bruh. Just TP's up there. Looks like he's gonna clear the spiders. As, yeah, I mean, Talon just have full control of this game.
Kasane's out leveling Bryle. Right. And that, as rough of a start as Kasane's had, that is just shocking.
My thrift rewarded.
This is also a bit of a problem when you are far behind. Sometimes you can feed off of the enemy supports a little bit, but these are tanky supports. That's a 1200 HP clock. He's about to be level 7.
Yep, Tombstone is placed, but just in a defensive measure.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
TSM need levels.
Yeah, well, good news for them. In 2 minutes, a Wisdom Rune will spawn. Let's see if they can get it this time.
Honestly, that is like a comeback into this game. Smoke up and someone go on a goddamn mission to steal theirs.
Oh, he's on the cliff, so Bryle putting him up there, looks like.
Well played, Bryle.
So this will lead to likely the first kill of the game for TSM. And it will, it's taken a while, but they'll finally get it. Hook shot in by Q. You can see Jabs pursuing from behind as well. Tomato's stuck inside the cogs, but he's doing a decent amount of damage onto Jabs, but Onslaught coming in very nicely from Bryle. He gets a double kill.
Let him cook.
3 have died, though, for TSM, including the carry, Mr. Tomato's Drow.
Honestly, I don't think that this is bad for TSM. If you're this far behind, if you can like trade 2 for 4, or even get any kills on the board, this XP is very, very much needed. And any kills that you get right now, they give you so much gold too. Kasane is getting some stuff up top. I mean, Bryle's still doing pretty good, right? We touched on him, you know, 5.6k net worth, not too shabby. But nice move from 23 Savage coming into the back as well, getting himself some much needed, or I don't think much needed kills, but some very good kills for himself.
Now, what does Bryle need to go for this game? I mean, BKB seems to be very standard, and obviously against a Clockwork, you have to go for that. Is it first item BKB?
It has to be, right? You're playing into what, Timber, Clock, Bad Rider? Yeah, you're definitely gonna need his S here.
Oh yeah!
Oh, what a beauty! That's the comeback kill of the game, right there. Bryle God angling his charge into the high ground cliffing. I mean, even this kill took like 13 seconds.
Yes, I mean, it is Flesh Golem with decay.
2300 HP.
And took long enough for Talon to at least get Tomato, but like you said, I think TSM, considering how this game is going, they'll take this.
Yeah. I mean, they got, like, Tomato did a good job there with the silence and getting off the multi-shot, trying to make the best out of the situation. I think if they can hold the game as it is like this, that's a victory for them. Because Talon, they have all the freedom on the map to do whatever they want. You see a good hook shot, you push him back, you get them killed, you have jabs come around.
All right, 14 minutes, Wisdom Runes.
Oh,
it's time.
They're getting one.
Ari, Blood Grenade, dead.
He's level 6.
He got it from the Wisdom Rune.
Easy clap.
Whitemon picks it up. MVP of the game so far for TSM.
I think it might be his birthday.
Who?
Someone at the start of the game said happy birthday to, I think, Whitemon.
Oh, okay.
So happy birthday, Whitemon.
Happy birthday. Get slapped here in game number 1.
Oh, good scan from Radiant. They do scan it out that Talon are on their way to try and murder them once more. Here comes Mikoto. He's going to steal some Ancients. Oh, here comes Bryle.
Not too happy with this. Actually cancels the Timber Chain mid-chain into the Pulverize now. This would be a very big kill if they can get it, and they do. Ollie's going to be next on the list. Bryle on a killing spree because he's the only person that's gotten a kill on TSM.
Oh, this is big. This is exactly what you... Like, you kind of want to keep the map open when you're far behind, but as I said, when they overplay, you need to punish these rats on the map. And they did exactly that, killing Mikoto there and getting another kill and also getting a Lancet on a Tombstone. Like, now we're back in the game. Ari, level 7, halfway to his vessel, has a hold that, Mr. Q. Ari, easy kill.
Dunzo. Man, the Clockwork really working out.
Yep, Snare is too good. He called it.
A lot of annoying long animations on the side of TSM.
And yeah, I mean, techies hate. There's like 4 heroes that literally hate playing it. Maybe 3. You know, Chen and Brood might be okay with all their summons, but yeah, Bryle kind of got to recover his game. Close to the BKB, but I think Talon's still more than happy with the state of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a TB Bad Rider in your head, it will always be very easy for you to set up the map and just kind of play the game in the way that you want to.
A 15-minute blade mail on a support Clockwork. Pretty good.
And it's pretty good timing.
That's what I said. It's a good timing.
I'm agreeing with you, yes.
Okay. Just checking.
There's no analysis. It's a good item. I'm just agreeing.
And Tomato, he also got a Hurricane Pike, so he has an option now inside the cogs. As we're seeing highlights of some kills.
Let him cook. We're going to see the Aghanim Scepter once more for Tomato. Very good in this game. Just the hypothermia, getting more damage on your frost arrows with the stacks. So if anyone explodes, you just shred them out, having the heal reduction as well. Timber, Undying, still very good. It's Primal Beast, that's a faster average. I guess some people are going like Blink Daggers and Blade Mails.
Well, yeah, this is first item.
Yeah,
so.
This is very, very, very first item.
I mean, he got Phase Boots at 10 minutes, so it was a rough start for Mr. Bryle, but he has come back. And Tomato. All right, we're hoping for the shard after the Aghanim Scepter.
It will come, as he has a very nice timing. Gets to push out the wave at the bottom tier 2, TP towards your triangle up top. Can farm Ancients twice, hit them, pull them out. Looks very good, but yeah, lead went from 3k up to a 5k. Just, I think 20
from
like,
farm.
Yeah, Talon's heroes, they just farm the map more nicely. And there's also more threat on TSM when Talon are fogging with the Bad Rider, with the clock. You're like, okay, where are they? We have to back up. As I see Ollie ping out Roche, which when you have TB Undying, that's also a very easy thing to do.
Yep, that's true. It is still quite early, but they have a very big lead.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they will feel comfortable doing that at some point in this early stage. Looks like Manta is on the wait. Is he
he's going Scotty straight.
Okay, he's just changing his mind to straight Scotty.
I like the Scotty straight when you play into heroes that, because I think they kind of rely on bursting him or like trying to kill him in like a stun lock or like some Primal Beast into techies. But this way, he's just going to have very high HP to like stand his ground. Gives him also another answer into the Primal Beast. We have a big smoke coming up from Tia. Yeah, Scotty is completed on 23 Savage. If he's in the fight and they don't...
And the Pupil's Gift. Don't forget the Pupil's Gift. I'm sure he has a branch in there as well.
Does he have a Pupil's Gift?
Of course he does.
He has a circle in the backpack.
And a Lotus.
Pull it out.
Oh my goodness. So many.
Dude, the Scotty plus Pupils, it makes such a difference.
It is. I'm not even being sarcastic.
Really?
At all. Yeah, I mean, even the Lotus. And, of course, the Wand.
The 20 Wand charges. Yeah. And the Strength boots when he swaps them.
Yeah, that's true. Forgot to mention that one. This is going to be a tier 2 tower. They do pop the fortification. So you have to think, based on the position, this will inevitably go the way of Talon.
I do think that Ari's Vessel could have a lot of impact on some of these next fights. Like maybe 23 Savage doesn't have Manta until then, or Mikoto doesn't have any Dispel, so Vessel can really do a lot.
Jabs. Has the boots of travel. He's going to pop the BKB, not really needed.
Happy birthday, Whitemon.
Yep, happy birthday indeed.
Just get BKB lassoed by jabs. So, okay. It's a pretty free kill. It's going to allow them to just, sure, you take the tier 2 tower, but what good teams are going to do, they'll just try to push back, defend their areas, and in this case, they even get to push it in all the way and potentially just go and take Roche. Looks like that's
Tomato only 2k away from his axe right now. And I mean, you mentioned the hypothermia. I think this game, like the game that we were talking about, there weren't any like big juicy heroes, but this time around they definitely have it on the side of Talon. So going to see some value as the Pulverize coming out into the blast off. Makoto's going to get some help via jabs and the boost to travel. And looks like Ari is going to die as a result.
That was pretty nice. They glyphed away so jabs can come in and kill the mines. Not sure if Makoto would have necessarily died, but overall very good play. So that means that Talon did not commit in killing Roche. I'm kind of okay with that. You can wait for some of your next items to make it more safe. Maybe get 1 or 2 dispels. Just chill as, I mean, we can see that their lead is just increasing by the minute.
Yep. I mean, when you're in a game like this, how close do you think the players would be if they had to guess how much they're down? Like in
this game, I think actually very close.
Very close.
I think.
Do you think generally speaking, players are really good at knowing? Because sometimes, like when we're casting and the score is close, net worth not, and sometimes it's not even that obvious.
I think this game is kind of easy for them to know because like you're losing and you had like 1 or 2 kills and like that's kind of it. Yeah. Some games are like more back and forth where it's like now you get 3 kills, then they get 3 kills, so you don't really know. But in this game, I think most players would pinpoint between like 4 and 7k. As here Talon gonna get themselves in pretty quick.
Watch Roche's face in the bottom right. Watch for it. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I have. When he comes out now.
Oh,
my god! That scared me, dude.
That's right.
It's like a horror movie.
That's right. You ever play the VR Roche thing that Valve made? It's scary, actually.
What, the one at your tournament, Midas?
No, that's when you were playing as Roche. They had like a, when they were coming out with Steam Deck, they had everybody test it out like a couple years before. And they have like this, why am I talking about this during a cast? But anyway, they had a thing where you had like the secret shop and you can look around. It was really cool. And then there was a jump scare with Roche coming out.
Yeah, looks like exactly the thing that I would never do. So thank you for telling me about it.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
So Talon with the Aegis, first Roche of the game. And the question is, how much will they get with it? There's still tier 2s on the top and mid lane, along with a tier 1 top as
they are going to get, I think they're going to clean the whole map. Every outer tower, they're about to get blink on jabs, which is a big timing. They're going to put the map in a good position for the time where 23 Savage will be closer to his meta. And then I think the tier 2s are all going to start falling. And until then, I don't really see how TSM fight back unless they create.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, the Torment.
My boys, TSM.
Everyone buy the shard so Tomato can get it.
That's right. That's the play. It's going to go to Ari.
That's a good shard, though.
It is.
We take those.
And Blink Dagger now on Brile. I mean, that's another thing. With the Aegis, like you talked about, they're going to want to take the rest of the towers, most of which are in the top lane, which could transition into the Tormentor. So, in a way, you're kind of denying Talon from getting that as well.
That is very true. Because now they have to go back on the map, which no one will ever do.
Yeah, we've learned that. They'll keep the Tormentor up till 40 minutes if they have to.
Yep, 38 minutes, I think, in the last game. So we'll have to wait 16 minutes until they do that.
That's right.
There's a tier 2. Yeah, it's very hard to play. And I love this gem pickup from Talon. I don't know exactly who bought it, but them doing that when you're ahead on the map and that's all you're going to do is Jabs is looking for a move. Looks like he doesn't really want to lasso the techies.
Ryle hiding in the trees. Going to be found now by Makoto. He's going to pop the BKB. Trying to go on top of somebody. The Pulverize actually gets canceled. I think it was by Ryle himself. As he's now going to get lassoed back into the arms of everybody else from Talon. Kind of a weird engagement for TSM. The Aghanim Scepter online for Tomato, but you have to think 23 Savage and company are not going to stop anytime soon.
I actually think that Makoto could run into the tier 4s, press E, and not die. He has Axe, he can get all the stacks completed. There's no damage onto him. So Talon, they're going to stay here, try to hit the tower down for the remainder of the meta. I think they have about another 10 seconds left. Also like 23 Savage's items with the Chrysalis. Just, you know, a little more damage, push forward the game.
Focusing on the range racks to start as there's the reactive armor shield. Wow.
Oh, he's going to stun everyone.
That's, it does.
Throw it.
Very nice.
He should be able to throw the shield, I think.
Throw it?
Yeah.
Just like a very slow projectile?
Yeah, like an alchemist.
Yeah, okay. I can be into that.
Okay.
I think people are picking up it often enough that it's not going to get redesigned. It's just a numbers thing.
That's true.
So they get the tier 3 tower in the bot lane.
Yep.
And obviously still with the Aegis intact. We'll see if they want to just continue this kind of methodical approach to the game. Not doing anything crazy, like Bryle, who gets pushed
on the
onto the other side after the blink. Yeah, great job from Q. Bryle finally gets the BKB up with the Pulverize, doing a good amount of damage,
Sunder.
but ends up dying there. 23 Savage with a nice Sunder. Looks like Ari's going to get cleaned up. Q finally does drop, but it's going to cost them a lot of members. Lasso onto Kasane. Gets off the BKB, trying to TP out. Do they have the damage? No. So 2 for 1. Aegis will be consumed in a minute.
I mean, those are some of the, I think, best cogs that you're going to see, especially around these like high ground areas. Not only does he push back the Primal here, but nice. No one else can really come and help. So this is just disgusting if you're Bryle. Now you end up between a Clock, a Tombstone, and a Skadi TB. So that doesn't feel too good.
Ends up being a good Pulverize.
Yeah. He didn't cancel it, so it was good.
That's right.
And it's just awkward for Tomato to connect to this fight. Even though he's close, if the start of your fight isn't good, you just gotta call it quits. Go back to get closer to your next item and hope for the best.
They actually cut down the tree from Makoto. Cut down the tree he was trying to Timber Chain to. I think they actually get that kill if he's able to get up there. But either way, Talon not going to be too sad about that as they are crushing this game right now.
Yeah, I'm always trying to look for ways how when you're losing, so as TSM, like what can they try and look for in one of the next fights? Because I think it's a lot more straightforward, obviously, for Talon to play when they're up this far. You blink Lasso, force-step someone into you, into a Tombstone, or you even just go to the high ground with this TB, who is so fat in this game. They have 2 Lotuses. This Clock is close to an Aghanim Scepter. So I think TSM need to like find a way where Tomato needs to get to hit in the fight, and Bryle needs an initiation where Ari gets to follow up. Like, if you can somehow create the scenario, it's Bryle.
Yeah,
Nice push back.
He gets off his BKB, but they might have enough damage just to rip right through him. Getting control with the hook shot. So even if he comes back, the BKB is going to be on cooldown. As Boots of Bearing finished on TSM side. Okay. That was unexpected.
Yeah, Whitemo's he's a pretty big boy.
It looks, yeah, Solar Crest as well.
Tomato's actually pretty strong still in this game.
23 Savage, focusing on the bottom racks now. Gets the ranged. Don't have to worry about Bryle anytime soon. No fortification available, so you have to think this will eventually be a full set for Talon.
There's
Sane in the trees. Oh, backdoor protection kicks in though, so maybe it'll be a little bit difficult. 23 Savage getting 4 staff to safety. We'll have to pop the Lotus actually, so we'll see if Talon want to try to retreat for the time being. As Makoto scaring everybody off with that shield. Good defense from TSM, not having their mid laner at all.
I mean, TSM do hold with Tomato being, he's still pretty strong in this game.
Is he going shard yet?
No. I think he was queuing up. So he's queuing up. Yeah, he just needs this Lincolns to not get lassoed.
Why?
I'm sorry for you, but I agree with him. He would indeed like to win this tournament.
Yeah, but
not make content for you.
You won't be remembered for winning. You'll be remembered for Glacier.
Now, that's certainly true. I always remember the Glacier play, not the winners.
That's right.
As I mean, like
we have 0 data points on that because it's never happened.
That is actually true. Maybe it's different.
I think, who was it? Yatoro did it, right? He actually got Glacier.
We didn't
Not at this tournament, though. It was, I don't remember what tournament, but
someone did it.
It's happened. Don't even know if it worked out.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, grab ally.
Tombstone.
Okay.
Okay,
Q
with the upcoming Aghanim Scepter will... I mean, TSM are already in a lot of trouble, but I think this Ags is... It's always like in the background, and it's very annoying. Like suddenly getting 1, 2, 3 rockets on like some Drow Ranger techies is... Yeah, it hurts, but most importantly, this vision to help Jabs kind of get this lasso he wants, because once he latches onto someone, there's no counterplay. You're gonna get Blink lassoed, forced into the team, and Tomato has to play around that. I mean, actually, everyone has to play around that, because as we saw, even Bryle, he just dies to 23 Savage. He's way too strong.
And Jabs, he is invisible right now. If you can find a target. Well, not invisible, but smoked. He's going to go on the outskirts of the base here.
I like this play. They're going to be very well set up, whereas TSM, they're slipping.
Such a good spot right now. They're never going to expect him here. And meta's popped, so Barracks is, I think
they're not ready for
this up. The Clockwork has an Aghanim Scepter now, so lots of vision coming out from the the infinite rockets or whatever it is.
Triple rocket flare that you can use, I don't know how many times, maybe like 5 or 6
4 or
times.
5.
Yeah.
One of those
Pretty
two.
close.
23 Savage focusing on the mid tower now as Bryle jumps in. He gets off the pulverize, but not going to be able to find anything because of Grab Ally, indeed. Saves the day again, and 23 Savage can just continue hitting buildings.
They don't
I
really
don't know
have
what
an answer.
TSM can do here. They get the Fortify off, but there's no tower to help out. It's just delaying the inevitable.
Okay, Bryle looking.
Onslaught in, but the instant lasso to cancel him out.
Lotus.
And it looks like Bryle's just going to melt under the pressure. Makoto pops that reactive armor. And as usual, everyone from TSM has to run away. But they do defend the barracks, technically.
The problem is, eventually, it doesn't matter how much you defend. I'm not seeing the idea of how they want to try and approach it. And I don't really blame them. It's really hard for them to find a way to win a fight. But I think going from the front, I don't know if that's the way. Maybe you have to do some funky play where you smoke around and kill the supports. I'm not sure.
Oh,
There's
my
good
goodness.
hook shots.
Yeah, that Clockwork is scary. Oh, he gets harpooned back in, but Kasane has to be careful. That's funny, even if you harpoon in, you got that blade mail to work with. Makoto pops the reactive armor. Batrider coming in on a creep, gets the lasso, finding Kasane.
Bam.
Double damage, 23 Savage, even in melee form, very fearsome. Ari comes in with a blast off, connects onto 2. Not a whole lot of follow-up as Bryle looking for somebody.
Good
gets
onslaught.
off the BKB with the pulverize as well. Ollie gets the tombstone. The Grab Ally is going to keep him safe and sound for the time being. He gets the Thunder as well. Triple kill for Makoto. And some way, oh, they do get the Terrorblade eventually, but it's going to cost them dearly. 2 buybacks now. Tomato trying to... he's not going to get out either. 70 seconds of no buyback for the Drow Ranger.
He's going to boom.
An ultra kill Makoto. Boom. And he's not done yet. The rampage to follow. Why not make it a double, my friend? Stolen by the disgusting Clockwork player, but either way, Talon. I'm actually surprised that GG was not just called here, but I guess they don't have their building damage guy.
Good casual 12,000 damage with 30 minutes into the game. Makoto just kind of showing off why the boom boom spell, that's what I'm gonna call it now. This Timber Axe is really damn good, especially in this game. Literally no one touches him. They deal no damage, and then he just kills everyone. And he's just gonna whack away at the
He's
towers.
a universal hero, so he does some damage now.
Yeah,
Doesn't have his
214.
flamethrower though.
Yeah, he should go buy it. Or sell Soul Ring 1 and buy Deso.
Oh, yeah, easy.
That's okay. Looks like TSM will have another hit in them.
Yes, they will, and I think the only thing that can save them is the Glacier. That's the only counter to Grab Ally.
Radiant's middle tower
Somehow.
is under attack.
It's coming.
Oh, come
That's why they're not.
60. All right, let's click on when he's up. We're going to follow him until he purchases it. Very important.
Very important. He will get it from the bottom wave. He will get it from the wave.
Okay, let's see.
Give him the wave.
His mind. He knows the game's about to end.
Multi-shot.
Multi-shot. And yes! Come on, baby. Let's go, Tomato. Let's get some Glacier action. There we go. All right.
As here,
I thought we were going to see a replay of him buying the shard. This is a little disappointing, actually. This was sick. This was sick.
The Grab Ally into the aggress. Did someone else force staff him in? Because I think his was already in cooldown. Anyway, sick play from them. And then Makoto gets the very cool rampage, which could have been a double. And you flamed the Clockwork, but it was actually the zombie man who's
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Still blaming Clockwork, though.
Okay. With the
we
double
have a
tip.
smoke right now on the side.
Back to the game, we need the Glacier.
Of Talon. Yeah, we have to make sure we catch the first Glacier of Esports history.
Oh,
even though
yeah.
we're pretending that Yatoro never did it. And here we go. Tomato.
Oh, he's baiting an illusion.
What's the cooldown of Glacier?
20.
20 seconds. Pretty good.
I feel like I could have been so wrong.
It's not like Rampage from Troll. That's 80 seconds for some reason.
Oh, that's true.
Bryle.
They took erosion in the meantime, by the way.
That's fine. Don't need to mention that.
Okay.
Was this the second or third?
I don't know. Second.
Good.
There was no cheese before.
Yeah. All right, so no Ags, no refresher. And Talon looking to finish this game, and we'll see if they can overcome
the Glacier.
The Glacier from Tomato.
They're doing it very cleanly. Take Roche, everyone go top, walk down the lane, let 23 Savage hit. If you see a good lasso, you take it. Otherwise, you don't really need to force it in terms of, you know, using the lasso. Just let 23 Savage do his thing. As
Yep. Metamorphosis is there. Rocket flares coming out from the Clockwork
Glacier.
Aghanim Scepter. Tomato trying to dodge this eventual hook shot to come. They're going to smoke up to make it a little bit harder. Jabs, though, with the Firefly. Looking
Eyes
for
on
an
Drow.
opening himself, but the buildings are melting. The tier 3 tower is already dead.
The Glacier!
The Glacier from Tomato! Huge play from him! And they're going to lose the range racks now.
Get back on it!
Don't worry, it's back up relatively shortly. Bryle jumps over the BKB, gets the pulverize on the correct target, but the grab ally, the counter to the Glacier has been used. But can you beat Tomato in the fountain with Glacier? Look at the damage being applied. He pops the cheese. Makoto's going to stay alive as a result, but the Mega Creeps will come.
Glacier again!
Glacier again! The multi-shot! The extra arrows being applied! Insane damage from him! But Bryle looking on, can't do much about it. As it looks like the Mega Creeps will finally come. Tomato might have a third Glacier available for this game in this final stand to come.
This is the combo, Glacier plus Chrysalis.
Okay, Chrysalis, Glacier combo, very icy indeed. Makoto already popped the reactive armor. Onslaught, he's going to continue on now, cancels it halfway through.
Oh, boom, boom.
Bryle, yeah, Makoto does a bit of damage there. And the Glacier was used again, I forgot to hype that up. Didn't use it at all, though. Tomato, 3 if you get Octarine Core, imagine, and Spell Prism, imagine how
you can
often
stand
you
on
could
it forever.
use it.
Well, you can actually play
Endless Glacier.
You can play King of the Hill. You just stand on it for you are not allowed to move.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, Tomato.
It's only Megas. They've done this before. 100% win probability channel.
It doesn't have any stats on Glacier.
That's why they have 0. That's true.
It's incorrect.
Oh, boom, boom. Easy shot.
The way of Q, so he'll have the jetpack now.
He can get on top of the Glacier.
Oh, that the counter is the. Also, we didn't mention Firefly as well. If you have a branch on Timbersaw, he can put a tree up there in Timber Chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can put Tombstone up there. There's actually a lot of counters to Glacier. It's not very good. But
Really?
30K lead for Talon. The Mega Creeps. There's the Glacier from
Thunder.
Tomato. Bryle, Pulverize. Where's the grab ally? Not being used. It's not in range right now. And that's the Aegis. Ollie too late to the party. That limp really catching up to him. Had to waddle his way over. 23 Savage now. Sick and tired of things.
Who's getting lassoed?
Metamorphosis. Now the tier 4 tower's starting to melt. Oh. Look, the Glacier again being used to full effect to kill some creeps. Tier 4 tower number 2. 23 Savage will get it. Throne exposed. Tomato. He's ready to go with Glacier. The Firefly is there.
Oh,
Savage. Another Pulverize. Ari getting quite low in the thick of things. And the TB's going to get the Sunder off just in time. And Tomato, he does still have Glacier. Just letting everybody know. Still has the usage in the fountain, which he's going to use now. Look at those creeps get decimated. Unbelievable play as finally, for some reason, GGs are called literally 15 minutes after the game was actually over. And Talon take game 1.
They did it for you.
Yeah,
so you get to see the Glacier.
I appreciate that. We saw more Glaciers than we've ever seen.
This game was all Talon from start to finish. I think especially starting with this, the TSM offlane, I think that put them in a very hard spot. I think maybe going into the next game, try to make it a bit easier for themselves. Not sure because, yeah, I didn't see that many signs of life really in this game. Talon were just too far ahead and was maybe even just too easy for them.
Yeah, it might have been draft related. I mean, Kasane had a really tough start, and I think that kind of snowballed to other lanes because the supports could rotate to help out the other lanes, not that they even needed to, because like you said, they were doing a very good job anyway. But either way, Talon take game number 1. Let's hear what the panel has to say about Glacier.
The Glacier and the Grab Ally, the contest of the ages, and it seems that Grab Ally still reigns supreme as Talon Esports get themselves the Game 1 victory here. And although the game was extended a little bit in terms of its duration, Fear, let's be honest, from about 8 minutes, we could probably tell this game is over.
Ooh, where do we start on this one? I guess we can start at the offlane, the Broodmother. Didn't do very hot. It was a 20% win rate before this game. That's going down now, and at this point, maybe it's not a first pick hero. This Undying plus Terrorblade lane was way too rough from him, and if we're going to another rough lane for TSM, Bryle mid against this Timbersaw, really, really rough. He tried making 2 rotations before he even got level 6 because that lane was not going well. Those didn't work, and Bryle's game, I felt bad for him. He just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, he was completely ruined by this Clockwork pick, Timbersaw in a mid lane, Flame Break. Like, how do you play Dota on Primal Beast pre-BKB? The answer is you don't, as we've seen in this game, but even when he got the BKB, so many times there was jabs just kidnapping with the lasso. And like the way this game started is 7 minutes into the game, you lose your Wisdom Rune, enemy team has it, which means that you're going to be playing with level 4, level 5 Clockwork, Chen, plus, who was it? Yeah, Techies, because I didn't really feel the influence. I couldn't even remember who was in the game, but because he was level 4, 13 minutes into the game, that's really, really rough. You need those level 6s to be available so you can actually punch back, because you don't have the damage, you don't have the sustain without those 2 big ultis.
That's a very good point, BSJ. One of the things we've seen with 4 positions throughout this tournament is they have to be able to make an impact. We've seen the rise of Rubik's, your Alliance. Techies fell off for a reason. In this game, did you feel the impact of the Techies? What was he actually able to accomplish from Ari?
I'll be honest, I don't think the Techies like had any chance of being a hero. Like, they picked it 9th, right, as their last overall pick. I think at that point in the draft, there was no 4-position hero that they could have picked to do the job that it needed to do in that game. So yes, Techies has absolutely fallen off as the lane dominator. Like, if you saw Techies Brood last patch as a carry player, I'm like, well, I lost the lane. But when you're dealing with Undying, Terrorblade, 2 heroes that weren't nerfed at all at that stage of the game, Techies and Brood who were, suddenly you're seeing like Kasane get killed level 1, and Ari's like out leveling his offlaner, and whenever that happens, you're going to see then later Ari doesn't have anywhere to go. He tries to get that kill bottom, jabs with some sick jukes, so suddenly a 3-man gank from TSM that's going to maybe like establish a bit of equilibrium at like 4 minutes on the map. It's all downhill from there.
Before we break it down even further, I want to highlight a quick play. Our STC play of the day has to come from Mikoto with his mid lane Timbersaw. Now, Fear, this is a man who has only played 8 professional games of Timbersaw in his entire career. This was his 9th one. The last time he played it was last year. Why is he not playing more of this if he's able to perform at this level?
I mean, this is a man of many talents, but sometimes when you are on a Dota team, you are giving a particular role that you need to fulfill, and usually it's going to be the spirit heroes, making space, making things happen, but really good by Talon here to find that, you know, this is actually a good game to pivot. Maybe put on the mid Timbersaw. Mikoto doesn't play it a lot, but it's a great game for it, and he delivered, and this is what makes or breaks a good Dota player. Can you be versatile? And Mikoto is proving he can do what he needs to every game, but he can go above and beyond some games, getting a Rampage in this game, and that'll actually be the 4th Rampage of the entire tournament now, so there hasn't been too many.
Yeah, this is also a sick play. Terrorblade getting inside like the Grab Ally, the old ability, so it gets into the Tombstone, gets the Sunder off, dies in the end. That was the only death of 23 and Mikoto. He gets the Rampage in the end. Just beautifully done. Like, this game was over pretty much from the start after the laning stage was done. Even like, we consider laning stage 10 minutes into the game. Even before that, the game felt completely over because Terrorblade, like, he had one job: continue to farm up, show in some of the fights once you get that metamorphosis, and also the big item. Scotty against all of these cores, against healing coming out from Chen, Drow Ranger, you don't get to play Dota.
Yep, 17 minutes of Scotty coming out from him, well, 4.5 minutes faster than the average. Incredible performance coming in from Talon Esports. Before we break down more of what they did exactly right in Game 1, we still have to find out what's happening elsewhere in the Riyadh Masters event. To do so, we send it to our man on the ground, Jenkins. Flex it for us and tell us what's up.
Hello, hello. I'm here with Vintage, of course, EG's coach. Thank you for doing your iconic walk. What do you say to your team when you do the iconic walk?
¿Qué le dijiste a tu equipo cuando entraste así?
Usualmente siempre gritaba como que sabía que íbamos a ganar, pero la mitad del tiempo era dejen de fedear en las runas, maldita sea.
Most part of the time I said, like, I knew we were going to win, but the other part was like, stop feeding in the runes. Or fighting in the runes.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, at the last major, it was a bit rough. You guys bombed out. But now, you're top of the groups. What did you change? What happened?
Bueno, en la Major anterior no les fue muy bien, ahora les está yendo muy bien, así que cambió.
Creo que básicamente decidimos que Bali era el mejor lugar para tener vacaciones, era el lugar perfecto para resetear el mindset y creo que nos divertimos lo suficiente como para venir acá con la motivación necesaria de ganar.
Okay, he said they decided Bali was a nice place to have vacations, so they they picked the place to have a good mindset, a reset mindset.
Okay, it is a nice place. So if you were on a stranded island, a deserted island with your team, who would be the first to resort to cannibalism, and who would you eat on your team?
Si estuvieras en una isla desierta, básicamente resumiendo, con tu equipo, ¿a quién te comerías primero?
Yo creo que el primero sería Panda, porque es el que está más farmeado, y luego estaría entre Whisper y yo, porque ahí nomás le seguimos a Panda. Pero creo que la supervivencia se basaría entre Panda, Whisper y yo.
Well, I think that's...
Can I guess they would eat Panda?
Don't need translation for that.
Yeah, and Whisper would be the one to...
The second one would be Vintage or Whisper. They need to decide which one.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Por eso engordé un poco. Que la comida de Bali era muy buena, por eso engordé un poco.
He said the Bali food was really good. That's why he's a little bit chubby.
And that's why you didn't have to resort to cannibalism. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me, Vintage. I appreciate it. Back to you, Shiver.
Unfortunately, Jenkins, Shiva's busy. So after that game, BSJ, one thing that you mentioned in the draft was that the matchup head-to-head, Drow versus Terrorblade, can nominally seem quite good, right? However, you did say that the game, overall, the game state is incredibly hard for her to play. And Fia did say that Drow needs to position very well. She did that, but
yeah, on top of the glacier, she positioned herself.
On the high ground, Anakin would be proud. I mean, the thing is that I really feel like I saw Monet yesterday pick Medusa into Drow, and I was skeptical. I was like, that's not a good carry matchup. But after I saw the game play, I was like, wow. The vision of the game, it made so much sense that his team needed a Medusa in that particular game yesterday. In this game, I feel like the Drow is very good against the TB, but when you have a Chen, the #1 thing I've been told about Chen is that he wants to go jungle on his own because that's all that hero really can do at like minute 3, minute 4. So that means the carry is going to be left alone. That means the carry wants to be an independent, survivable, hard to gank carry like Slark, Lifestealer, all my favorite guys that I'm always biased against when I suggest them on the panel. But if you don't pick that sort of thing, suddenly Chen's not doing the thing he wants to do. And then it is your job as Drow to basically 1v9 because you're the one against Terrorblade, but your teammates are going to have less items in the process, and that just means that when I see them draft in this next game, I want the focus to be on what makes their draft work rather than what counters everything that Talon's bringing out.
Regrettably, we have yet another game where we see Broodmother lose, Chen losing again. Their win rates are dropping precipitously at this point. And as a result, Talon Esports find themselves one game away from tying at the top of Group B and almost guaranteeing themselves a spot in the upper bracket of the Riyadh Masters playoffs. We find out exactly what their destiny will be or if TSM can fight back after a very short break.
I think the one player that inspired me and that I watched and I get to play now, it might be Paparazzi. I've been watching him a lot when I was younger. He used to be like a super cool core player, play carry, used to play mid, and now I get to play them, so it's really nice. I think it was TI7. I think he was on IG Vitality, and I already knew him. I knew he was like a Chinese superstar. I think we got to beat him. His team wasn't very good. It was like the B team of IG, and then he got ascended to the main one, and then that's where the monster Paparazzi started. Right?
I mean, I think there's maybe only one player really at this event that still is alive and kicking, which is Clement. I think Puppy. I don't know if I remember the tournament specifically, but I remember TI4 like I think that was maybe the first time that we kind of started like chatting and stuff, because I was so new in the scene, and then he was on Navi, which was like, you know, a household name, and just like, you know, Kavos, Dendi, Kuro, Puppy. It was like funny, but it was like big names, you know, big characters, and all of a sudden we're like just hanging out, you know,
playing Dota next to each other, and it was kind of like, it was a cool experience. I honestly don't remember, but we must have played them at some point during that year with EG, the first one at TF4. I don't remember if we played them in groups at TF4, but I think that might have been the first time, yeah.
From the experience ahead right now, like EG.
40,000. Oh, there it is. Beautiful chronosphere from the universe as he locks in 3. And Mason.
Papi is definitely the person who I was always watching, and especially when I started playing Dota. So, I mean, it's always cool to see him and play against him. I believe first time I saw Papi in Dota 1, it was tournament WDC in China, if I remember correctly, and he was playing in Navi back then. Well, I would say the reason why I'm watching Papi is obviously we're playing kind of same role and we're same position in our teams. But he's, at least when I was watching him back then, he was like jungler, you know, hit creeps in jungle with some Lycan, Chen, whatever hero. He always liked it, and back then I didn't like it so much, but you know, time has proved that I was wrong, he was right. So should have hit jungle instead. First time I played against Papi, I don't think I was nervous, but I was definitely hyped and tried to prepare as hard as I can. If I recall correctly, we won first match against Navi. It was some online tournament. Navi wasn't playing good online games, so you know, I was kind of proud of myself, and also I understood that they didn't play their full power at all.
We are back for Game 2 here between TSM and TALON Esports, where so far TSM find themselves with their back against the wall. And this matchup matters more than you might think. Whilst we're off here, BB team ended up losing 2-0 against Team Secret. So they are now suddenly in a situation where they don't have a lossless record any longer. They are 6-2. So if they get the W here, TALON Esports will match them at the top of Group B, and that increases their prospects of entering the playoffs in an advantageous position. Unfortunately, if TSM end up dropping the ball and losing 2-0, suddenly they're the first team on the precipice of being eliminated and not being able to get into the playoffs. I'm joined yet again by Fia, Lacoste, and BSJ. Lacoste, changes, adaptations definitely need to be made. For me, the first place I want to start is the Chen Broodmother. I do not want to see these heroes emerge again. If they don't, what do you think TSM should be doing to try and deal with what TALON is bringing to the table?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are picking the heroes that have very low win rate at the tournament, heroes that have been nerfed multiple times in a row in recent patches. So let's start with that, and then we'll see. Because, I mean, they can play relatively aggressive Dota on side of TSM. It's just a matter whether they get the good picks or not. You know, IO, Leshrac, they've been really dominating with these picks because, like, they came from the play-in, so they played a lot of games so far at this tournament compared to TALON, who are just chilling, waiting until it's their turn to play. So they have a little bit more play time, and I think they should use this because they saw what works, what doesn't, and just stick with what works.
So Fia told me about this, right? Normally it's kind of an advantage when you get to play more games, you get to figure out your own playstyle. Sometimes, though, it ends up being a detriment because the moment you start losing games with the playstyle that was working, you start to question all of your own ideas, right? How hard is it to mentally reset and ensure you go back to what was actually working rather than trying to reinvent the wheel, as it were?
I think it really depends on a lot of things and how much you believe in your idea, because they have been playing Brood the most. They're not winning with it, but they still believe in it. I think it takes more strength to admit defeat. And like, this isn't working, it's time to do something new, right? Instead of just continuously being like, oh, we can do this small macro little thing a little bit better this time, and then we'll be good. I'm okay with trying that a couple times, but when you're now like 1-6 with a hero, might be time to step it back, like, and be like realistic to yourself. This ain't working. We got to try something new. Let's play something that we're actually winning with. Maybe the Lycan, the Visage are doing well. In fact, Beastmaster, they have one game on and they're winning with it. All the other Zoo heroes they have a positive win rate. It's just the Brood that's not working.
Yeah, that is actually very true. All the other ones are looking somewhat positive for them. So hopefully they are going to be deploying those into Game 2 in order to save their tournament lives and ensure that we have multiple NA representatives going into the playoffs. So one thing I also want to see in this particular game here, BSJ, I want to see them give Braille a hero that can actually play the game. This game, I think we all agree that the Primal Beast game was practically impossible to play given the matchups, right? And usually, when TSM is doing well, Braille is popping off. So if you're not going to give him a Primal Beast, a hero which has been somewhat hit or miss at this tournament, despite looking very good at the beginning of the group stage, what other heroes from him stand out to you that would be easier things to focus on to give themselves the best possibility of winning?
Well, I know Braille's a player that he likes to play on the other side of the map. He likes to be up in your face and have ways out. Like, he likes to get out of jail free cards because of how aggressive he's constantly playing. So if you're looking at Undying Batrider, I think of just slows, right? There are a lot of kiting, a lot of slows in the mid game, and a hero that has natural mobility, all the spirits fit that bill. Primal Beast, like, once he charges in, he really hates these type of lineups because that hero uses movement speed in order to do damage. So when I look at his draft, or what I saw about the Drow against the TB, it's almost like an equal critique that they use the Primal to enable the Drow, and they kind of like griefed Braille in the process by picking a hero for his team that specifically would struggle. So I'd like to see Tomato's hero be more about the team and Braille's hero more about himself. And I think that'll be maybe a little bit better of a recipe moving into game 2.
Lacoste, there's a hero that you literally forgot about at the end of the game. The tech is at the very end, right?
Yeah.
Also, are we okay with 9th pick your support in this particular meta? It feels like there's an increased premium towards having at least one of your cores ending out the draw for yourself.
Yeah, I don't mind it too much. Like, we've seen a lot of these, like, 2 cores openers from the teams, especially when they have a 2nd pick, which is not too common, and it works out nicely. I think it's not like a few years back where you needed to, like, okay, it's not a bubble, so you're like, you gotta pick 4 and 5, otherwise you're gonna lose, your teammates are gonna be very angry. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan of techies right now. I was 2-3 patches ago. This was one of the strongest, like, most contested heroes, and seems like the hero is just not as strong, and try sticking with something else.
Yeah. Well, Fear, Ari Rubik, maybe?
Definitely. Yeah. I think his Rubik's good. Rubik is just replaced techies this tournament. There's been very few techies picks. I've seen a couple win, so the hero's not completely dead, but Rubik is far more popular and much easier to execute. I feel like you have to be a specialist now at techies. It's not about just right-clicking in the lane now. You've got to be able to do all the combos correctly, know where to be. Everything has to be on point, and it has to be a good game for you. You have to build a draft around it.
I mean, how we've been seeing sometimes Rubik's in the enemy team can be better than the techies, right? They steal all your mines, end up completely controlling the base and just making magic happen. So as we're about to get into this draft here, another thing that's going to be intriguing for me to watch is how they play the laning phase, because nominally we would imagine that the NA teams, we discussed it, do really well in the lanes. But TALON Esports, not only do they do well in the lanes, we know that they can control the game thereafter. So I need to see more defense of these Wisdom Runes, allow these supports to actually be able to play the game. We need some more vision control to protect Braille in particular a little bit more. But from a laning perspective, BSJ, just from play-wise, is there anything that they could have actually done differently in game 1?
I mean, I'll be honest, I thought Talon's draft was, like, really good. I think they kind of not only maybe dropped the ball a bit on the side of TSM, but Talon, like, the reason why I doubted your Clockwork suggestion was because that required Makoto to play a hero we don't normally see him play, Jabs to take over a hero that was picked first round that was usually played support this patch, and then giving the credit that this last pick support makes these 2 players' potential lack of flexibility that most teams do not have worth it. And then they do that, right? So I think that TSM, it's just one of those things where everything about Talon's draft just made so much sense to me. And when I see TSM's draft, it's like most teams are picking a core on 8 that you protect with 3 bans. In this case, they pick Chen, and then they ban heroes that Drow's actually good against, and then they end up picking Drow because they see the TB. It's like a reactionary draft rather than this is we know exactly what we're visioning this draft, like the path that it's going to take, and then escorting themselves down it.
Well, TALON Esports is not a team that has ever been accused of not having a very clear vision for what they want to accomplish in a game. Whether or not that vision pans out all the time is a mixed bag, but so far here at the Riyadh Masters, it has been very, very good for TALON Esports. Let us see if this train of success will continue as we head on over into Game 2. Game 2 is live right now. We have a draft on our hands. TSM will be playing a Radiant side with 2nd pick. All right, this is one of the very few games in this tournament that this has happened here. North of 80% ratio for Radiant 1st pick. Okay. I'm not sure who picked what in this situation. Does this change how you should be approaching the draft, since it's very rare nowadays that you get Radiant 2nd pick?
I mean, for the most part, you're going to stick to drafting-wise what you're comfortable with on first or second pick. There are small nuances that some teams may prefer if they're on a Radiant or Dire side, but those are generally on a case-by-case basis. So we'll have to see if TSM has anything cooking in that regard. But yeah, I think they're just going to stick to what they know and what they prepared for having that particular pick.
Well, Radiant, if you have Dire first pick, excuse me, you have a 59% win rate at this tournament. Pretty startling. Wisp already been removed. Snapfire, of course, being the second most contested hero in the entire game right now, at least at this tournament. And TSM, I'm glad that they did this, Lacoste. No Timber, please. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, get him out of there. The hero still provides you with so many problems that you need to like address in the draft. Like you're going for the heroes that most likely you did not want to pick. Like you have a certain idea coming into the draft, like what you want to pick. You know that these teams, they practice the openers. If they go with this one, what they're gonna go. So there's like 5-6 scenarios that they have in the head how they're gonna open up. One hero that is still left in the pool is Elder that was banned out in the previous one. And also Silencer, that's the hero that I'm looking out for TALON potentially, because they play really, really well with that hero, because it does allow them to like counter-initiate. It does give them a lot of team fight, but for now, it's just gonna be Batrider and taking the Silencer from them.
It's funny to me how much of a stable Storm is in the meta across like the last few months, because it feels like all that's happening is the supports are going through the rotating door of who's getting nerfed, because they're always picked with Storm. And yeah, Storm got slightly touched in the E patch, but clearly not enough to prevent teams from first rounding him. He's also got a pretty high win rate at this tournament despite his early picks. And we saw Pugna, we saw Coddle, we see teams with IO. That's what TSM's go-to has been so far. And now Silencer has just become like the fourth guy that enables you to buy less defensive items, more mana, and basically effectively giving you mana.
31 games, 58% win rate for the Storm. Picked very early. Unfortunately, the hero that we see coming out from TALON Esports right now, not enjoying the same success. 25 picks with a 24% win rate.
Yikers.
I'm worried. All right, talk me into it. Where is this going? Is this the Makoto TA through the mid lane? We saw it win earlier from Abed.
Yeah.
Or is it going to be the safe lane TA that we've seen reliably losing this tournament?
This one's going mid. It's going to Makoto. This is a matchup that I've seen quite a few mid players enjoy. I haven't necessarily seen TA always win this matchup, but in Makoto's hands, he's one of the best laners in the world, probably top 3. So I do believe that he knows this matchup and he should win it. There's not many heroes that can punish a Storm in lane, but TA with the meld strikes, if you can keep hitting him over and over again, this is a hero that potentially can do it. So it's a bit of a risky play here for TALON. Be like, all right, we're going to first phase a mid TA. We're going to make sure that we try and punish the Storm. If it does work, it's going to allow them to be able to snowball the game even further. But that does mean 23 Savage has to be more conscious of his hero pick coming out here, because you're not going to have Makoto bailing you out if you have a bad laning stage. He's going to be busy farming, most likely not making a ton of rotations. Maybe he'll leave you that a little bit by going Blink first, as we did see Abed do that. But either way, Makoto, he's going to have a good laning stage with this TA.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think they just took one of TALON's book, because they opened up with this Silencer Storm 3 times already at Riyadh Masters, and they're like, we're going to use this weapon that you showed that's very good and use it against you. But yep, as BSJ was also talking about, like Silencer does allow Storm to play much more aggressive. He doesn't necessarily need to care about some of these like post 10 minutes when Silencer gets level 6, so you have Global Silence to back him out of the trouble. Maybe like even if they get a good initiation with the Batrider Lasso, he can still stop some extra damage from coming in. This is why Templar Assassin is going to be good. Like all you need is a couple of right clicks. If you have a Refraction, maybe one Meld Strike, you're still going to be able to kill the target.
I'm going to give some credit to TALON here, because, like, preemptively, I'm pretty sure if they do put the TA mid, that what I'm seeing a lack of is a carry that, or like a core that offers you playmaking potential. And if you just kind of pigeonhole an offlaner into doing that, it doesn't feel nearly as good. So if I see a 23 Savage, Slark, or Void, I would be infinitely happier with this draft. Even though I don't hate the TA, but just purely based off the numbers, you're going to have to enable this hero. You can't just casually throw TA into the draft. And so I really am keeping an eye out for what 23 Savage elects to do to like make this work.
I definitely think as well with this TA, the laning stage is going to matter a lot, because depending how well she does in lane, that's when her time is going to come online. So of course the lane should be good in theory, but the thing that's really great about TA against Storm as well is you get the shard at 15 minutes and all of a sudden you have that silence to work with to help kill the Storm as well. And if it's as simple as that, you have Blink and shard by 15 minutes on this TA, you can make a lot happen. You just got to pretty much get there. And for TSM, there's a lot of things you can do to prevent TA from getting there, and the most notably, it's going to be gank the TA in the mid lane. Have some type of rotations. Silencer's not the best at it, so I'd like to see TSM potentially pick something that can help Bryo out this game. Otherwise, it's going to end up like game number 1, where Makoto's out of hand, nobody can help Bryo on his Storm Spirit. Now what is Bryo supposed to do? Make a couple rotations? If they don't work, he's going to be in the same boat as last game.
So let's see what heroes can still possibly could be coming out here. We've spoken about the Ori Rubik. There is his line that's still in the pool. Scareth Mage has increased relevance in the game, but maybe not into TA. So what do we want to see, Lacoste, that's going to enable them to rotate onto the mid lane and assist Brad in this game?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to see Spirit Breaker, but it got banned out, something that can push the tempo. I think the one that can also work, especially if they want to pair it up with the Darkseer, is Bounty Hunter. This way you don't lose your XP runes early on, something that did happen. You also threatened to take these Wisdom runes from the enemies, which is going to be a big one, and also not getting slowed by some of these. So have like Surge, have someone that can also build into aura items like a Darkseer, so I wouldn't mind seeing that. Just
That'd be a really cool pick.
Like those damage over time against Templar Assassin as well.
Damn, I like that idea a lot. I haven't worked with you in a while, Lacoste. I've been stuck with all these people that I haven't. I was only targeting Fear because I've been on a bunch of tables with him. But yeah, that's exactly what I'd like, actually.
I agree, Lacoste. That sounds great.
Great.
I agreed first.
I agreed second.
Never mind. Just going to be casual Rubik for now.
GG.
Just the average Ori Rubik. I mean,
that has been what he's playing.
Yeah, he's played it the most. It's the most played hero at the tournament. It is what it is, so definitely makes sense. Not the best spells to steal so far. However, if you do get lucky enough to take Firefly and then you use it onto the Refraction, that can feel pretty good.
T just kills you in 2 hits.
It's fine. You'll buy Ghost Scepter. It's okay.
Yeah, you'll have a Solar Ghost, Force Staff, everything, Shard to get yourself out of the trouble. I mean, it can be good. We saw Kaka the other day. I believe he was playing against Team Secret, where he got like Aghanim Scepter, a Refresher from Roshan. So Lasso could be a good steal overall, but I'm feeling that TSM heroes are relatively squishy. Like this Rubik Silencer, they're very easy to kill. And yeah, this hero we talked about on side of TSM, don't mind it on Talon as well, because this is the hero that builds into Guardian Greaves. So say goodbye to Global Silence, can reinitiate, keep them long enough alive to be able to get the spells off. So let's see what they're gonna pair it up with.
Probably Disruptor, even though like the combo is like whatever this patch. For Storm, it's always nice to have that additional like lockdown and silence.
What about the ET Phone Home? That's a hero that
he loves it.
Yeah,
it is a combo.
Big combo, it really is.
But not great for Storm.
Okay.
I feel like they're locked down for Storm. It's okay. I mean, I mentioned TA traps already. You got Lasso. Is that enough? Perhaps.
Maybe they can also be buffing up this damage from the TA, right? You have that ET's on top of you. You get hit like once, twice.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it'll definitely force them into a situation where picking any agility hero will be quite uncomfortable. That's for sure.
You could also be playing, I know you don't like to see it in the mid lane, but it has been played in the support role for Talon, this Tiny hero.
Yeah.
That could be an option for them, some additional disable. And like Surge Tiny always feels very strong, right?
Yeah. And not to just harp too much on, good pick. This is just something Ollie he loves this hero.
Yeah,
he loves it so much.
Thought it might show up earlier in the draft because they love to pick it up. He plays it extremely well. And again, in these big tournaments, ET, he's going to find a way.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Moon.
As this draft continues, though, I don't want to harp too much on Makoto having to play this TA, because if you pick something on your side lane for TSM that, you know, this might be a good TA safe lane game, I'm still looking at like a Puck being particularly good here for Talon, so they have options still.
Bloodseeker, one of the premier carry heroes at the very least at this tournament. Been doing fairly well for himself, not necessarily the best. How do you feel about this, BSJ? It being involved in this game, most of the time it ends up getting banned in the second phase. It finally gets through. Is this a good game for the Bloodseeker on 18?
It's a pretty solid Bloodseeker game for the lane, and also for like disabling the TA from being able to navigate the fights the way that she wants. My only concern is the need for a BKB on this hero, and then also another item. Like even if he buys BKB, which I think he has to because you're against ET Darkseer, this hero will still absolutely get shredded in a lasso plus Meld Strike Deso. Like you will just get bursted. And that's always my fear on Bloodseeker if I don't feel confident with that BKB timing of just kind of being invincible.
Yeah. BSJ, Bloodseeker justified, that's what it's all about. But yeah, I don't know if I like it too much. It's another hero that is like single target oriented against, this is a heavy teamfight lineup. We still don't know where Templar Assassin's gonna go, and you know, if they want to go something more heavy, more physical, I'm down for some Sven if they want to run this Templar Assassin on a mid lane.
I would have been down for Sven for TSM as well. I thought it was pretty good here with the Warcry armor, but are they really not going to ban Void?
Who knows?
It's such a good Void game.
For whom?
For
Talon.
For Talon?
Yeah.
Like the ET makes it even better.
So banning out Pudge, I mean, Jabs did play Pudge. So if they want to run it, maybe if they haven't a read like who's going where. Mid Batrider, DA from the safe lane and the off-lane Pudge.
Darkseer?
I don't know. Like, where's this Pudge supposed to go? Like, this is
Pudge jungle. That's what I see in my pubs. We were talking about the pubs influencing meta.
Oh, that's a good one. Thank you. You can farm the jungle quite efficiently.
One shot the creeps.
Yeah.
So what are the heroes that we're afraid of?
Okay, they banned Void. Thank God.
Void.
Yeah.
So with Void being gone, then BSJ, what comes in for potentially for 23 Savage?
I would lean more towards putting the TA safe lane with the fact that you picked ET and then you left your carry in the pool, which I think Void was by far their best option. But I would like the puck. I like Fear's suggestion of the puck. That was you, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
I gotta give you credit. And it's gonna be not puck. Nah,
I mean, they have options, right? Like, a lot of the carries are banned here, so it might, I mean, good old Medusa.
Oh, that matchup's like unplayable for
Bloodseeker.
Yeah.
I
totally forgot about this hero.
How could you forget about Medusa?
It's been like a week since she was broken. She's still good, but...
So now that this Dusa is in, we have one hero for Kasane. His Lycan's gone, his Beastmaster's gone. I don't think this is a good game for his Visage. Tidehunter feels a bit iffy here. Underlord, maybe?
Right, I'm Moon Meander here, right? And I'm asking Kasane, what's good versus Medusa? You know what he's going to say?
He's like, I haven't won a lane since this hero.
I don't know. This is the conversation they're having right now in the booth live. So... there is nothing right now that's particularly going to be good against this Medusa. They're just going to have to survive, and Medusa's going to do her thing.
I think they just had like maybe like Tidehunter option, this Underlord option, because you want to reduce the physical damage built into Crimson Guard here. You're playing into Medusa, into Templar Assassin, so you needed to have some physical damage mitigation. I think they try to fix the draft, but when we draw the line, the answer is they didn't, I guess.
I'm in agreement.
Hold on, there's some positives here though, boys. One of the things we saw in game one that kind of sucked for them is that they had a very difficult time responding to movements from Talon Esports. It's now a little bit easier with Kasane playing the Underlord and Brow playing a more mobile hero on the Storm Spirit. Tomato, you wanted a hero BSJ that's a bit more self-sufficient in the lane. Bloodseeker can certainly do that for you. And of course, you actually have ways to deal with the Templar Assassin. Medusa is still a big problem, I agree, but it's not like the entire draft counters everything that they do as in game one. They could still play fast enough before this Medusa comes fully online here, especially if they abuse early movements through Twin Gates and stuff, while she's still a little bit squishy.
Yeah, I think Tomato has to have the absolute game of his life, going through Twin Gates at NASCAR speed, getting kills all across the map, because right now, looks like Medusa's going to have a free farm game, and so is this TA. They will shut down the Darkseer, though, and you will have a good game on Tomato, and he has two bad core matchups here, so he's got to shut him down early.
Yeah, it has to be pretty much at least 2 out of 3 lanes for TSM into like a significant 3 to 4K lead at 15 minutes, because I have a feeling that this game's just going to stagnate, like where Talon's going to get out of their lanes, they're going to play the game exactly how they want in the sense that all 3 cores are going to be farming. Darkseer, yeah, you're probably going to shut him down, but he's one of the best recovery heroes in the entire game. Medusa's going to pop out of the jungle with 3 items, and they're going to end.
Yeah, jungle is pretty big, and they can farm it there for sure. Also, this global silence, it's not going to do any good. You have Guardian Greaves and Darkseer, you have Manta Stealth that is being built as the first item to Medusa, so you have like 2 ways to counter-initiate, even if they go for it. And even if they're like 3-4k gold down after the laning stage is done, they can easily recover. With the 3 cores, I don't think they have enough tower damage to just push the high ground, go for the tier 3 towers. It's just very, very difficult game for TSM.
I apologize, all of my North American fans in the chat right now, because I have a very pessimistic panel about TSM's prospect in Game 2. However, if you're an SEA fan, you're probably feeling kind of happy right now. To balance the scales a little bit, I'm going to send it over to my casters, and it's your job, Suns fan and Kezu, to tell us how TSM will win Game number 2.
Well, they can move to another region, because this region's not working out too well for them. TSM versus Talon in Game number 2. Kezu, do you agree with the panel?
Yep, I think they're in for a hard one. I really like this Darkseer pick. Like, when you have the Storm Silencer, you want something to counterplay. Not only does he take off Global from himself with the Grief Slayer, but he can counterplay, then buy all these auras to make it harder for Storm to kill. Because Storm Silencer, they can run out of initial damage pretty quickly. But what needs to happen for TSM if they want to have a good game? I think Bryle and Timado both need to pop off, and they need to like really push the game forward, where Bryle, Rubik, and the Silencer can play as 3 and like get kills. Because if this game is even at 15 minutes, I think Timado will want to quit this game.
Yeah, and he can't hide on the glacier this time, right?
That's true.
Now, there are some counters to Mikoto, of course, we didn't mention.
Like killing him.
Blood Grenade is a good counter to the refraction.
Earn.
Blood Mist as well. Anything blood related, apparently.
That's true.
Deals
Blood
damage
just
over
gets
time.
through refraction.
Absolutely. And we're going to have the bounty battle to start things out. As so far, Talon gets
There's one left.
2 out of 3. There is
Hello,
a 4th.
guys, there's a bounty room.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Any bounty enjoyers in the chat?
Talon should be able to get that, I would think. Maybe they just assume it's already been taken.
But they'll just get 2 at 3 minutes.
Yeah, they will. All right. Q.
Holy base, this is some new tech play or what?
The Blood Grenade applied right now. He's doing a little bit of damage, I guess, from the sidelines.
Easy trade. Getting a Blood Grenade, half HP of Whitemon. Well played here by Q. This guy seems like a specialist. As jabs down here, I think both cores are going to be pretty happy here. Like, Bloodseeker doesn't mind playing into Darkseer too much. I also think nowadays as Darkseer you have a bit of a better chance in this lane with more base damage. You go into the Vanguard, so I think both of them are going to be quite chill. And top lane, I think ET is okay with this lane too. Like, whenever you play ET into like some Phosphor Rubik and you have any carry that can help you out a little bit, like even just a random snake here or there, it's really good. So I think most cores in this game are going to be very happy in their early game.
And from Medusa's standpoint, we did talk about the nerfs yesterday, but I feel like her nerfs were not that big. Let's see, the split shot is probably the biggest one because it doesn't end up reaching the old level 4, I don't think. Yeah, just by a 5% difference at level 4. Ramps up a little bit worse, as Bryle taking massive damage in this mid lane already.
Yeah, these blades are strong. Mikoto definitely knows his way around the Templar Assassin, but yet Medusa just still seems very strong. I feel like this hero is just she needs to be... I feel like there's only 2 counters to Medusa. First, you counter her with a lot of like mana burn, which is quite obvious, and then the other one is you try and play a lineup that can play very like drawn-out fights, like where you have very elusive heroes. But Bloodseeker, he's not that. Bloodseeker is like, he's a very committal hero. You Rupture, you BKB, you use your Ags, whatever it may be. Like your team fight is on a timer. And Medusa is really good against lineups that have a timed team fight because she just excels at being tanky, using Stone Gaze to get people out of there. As I think Bryle is struggling right now. He's out of bottle charges as well. This is not good. Like Mikoto can kind of hold the Water Rune hostage or kind of like wait for one of his supports to come as well. Could really hurt Bryle here because his CS is great.
Yeah, so far it's very even, but HP-wise, not so much.
Yeah.
Well, looks like he will be able to get one of the Water Runes. So back to Medusa real quickly. Based on the old patch, which was not that long ago, you had to have somebody that had some sort of mana, like a Diffusal carrier, which TSM does not really have. I mean, maybe I've seen Bloodseeker get Diffusal once before.
Yeah, I think
at most.
I think he won't. Another thing you can try to do as these blades, Mikoto is doing a really good job. One thing you can do is if your lineup can't necessarily play long team fights, so you can try to itemize for it. You get 1 or 2 halberds, or you get a Crimson Guard pipe on your Underlord. That is at least one thing where Talon have a little bit of overlap, where I wouldn't say TA and Medusa are like truly similar heroes, but they both rely on getting right clicks out. They're very physical based, so getting a Halberd Crimson, it kind of counters multiple heroes at the same time.
True.
So that's one thing you can kind of try to look for.
That's Brawl trying to get back in this lane. Dakota with a little bit of an advantage, but nothing too crazy yet. And in terms of rotations, do you think either team has better supports to come to the mid lane to contest? I would assume it's the 6-minute power rune.
I think the Bad Rider looks... Oh, nice pull from Bryle into
has
the
to pop his
Remnant.
Fairy Fire, has the meld available to try to dodge one more attack. Oh, the missed chance, Bryle! Oh no, he really needed that. That is tilt-worthy.
Well, at least Bryle is still... not Bryle. Tomato's pretty happy about Makoto being such low HP. As, yep, now Bryle's going to struggle a little bit as he needs this rune because Q is stealing the bottom water rune right now.
Yeah.
That is sad. This is where you tell your side lanes, someone go feed and refill my bottle.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Yeah, might be worth it. Q, he's going to watch this get denied. Whitemon just going to TP out. Man, the lane would be so different right now if he didn't have that miss.
Melt barely missing there. Ollie though.
Firestorm, telekinesis to bring him back in. Ollie looks to be dead, and first blood drawn. Kasane gets the money for it, and that is a stark difference from last game for him.
That's a big deal for them. The faster you get towards... He already has the ring, of course. He's working into the Vanguard. Like when you get this level 5 on Underlord, he gets 3 levels on Aura with Vanguard. You can just deny every creep in front of Medusa's face. That's definitely one thing to try and slow down the hero, force him into the jungle as we have the river lane.
Yep, this is new. This is being beta tested right now for the next big 8.0 patch.
Yep, 5 lanes.
That's right. With 6 players, of course.
Oh,
it's going to be 6v6.
Oh, that's really hype.
Yep, Tomato with the Blood Red getting pursued by Q right now. The Blood Grenade is there. And it looks like he's just going to get chased down very casually. So nice rotation overall from Talon.
I mean, Darkseer, Bad Rider. This is a nasty dual combo if they just get to be on top of you. Because now with the new Firefly, it deals so much damage. You're shelled, you get surged up, and we've seen this before with Silencers, right? Silencer's a great like mid-game hero, or like after 10 minutes once you have the global, but he doesn't protect his allies very well.
Yeah, but having said this, 22 Savage is having a fine game.
He's doing very good. So I would assume over the next like 2-3 minutes, his net worth of course will continue to go up, but I think Kasane will ramp up something nice. A 6-minute rune is coming up, but Makoto is level 6. It's a pain in the ass to contest these runes against our early team.
Can he deny it? No, Makoto picks it up, so Ari's just dead. And effectively a denied rune for Bryle.
That is, it's really hard to, like, first of all, these supports aren't really good at contesting mid anyway against the TA, but now when Makoto gets 6 before, it literally makes it unplayable, and this move is very good. You start winning the Sentry War in mid, you have a siege creep.
Look at his XP. Literally one creep.
Oh, get this one.
There.
No, he didn't.
No, there. All right, now he will likely not die. As Whitemon now backing him up. Well, it just goes to show how close this lane is, though.
As Ari does cancel his TP to go for the Wisdom rune.
Oh, yeah.
Which does make sense, as Ollie does now come over.
Whitemon has nothing to contest, but he does have a teammate nearby, the Telekinesis, versus the Echo Stomp.
Oh,
already using it. Blood Grenade to try to slow him down, and it's taken by Ari. Ollie trying to TP out. Looks like he will be fine.
He even bought a Fairy Fire, but he will be okay, as yeah. So most of the core is just going to be pretty A-okay and like fairly even, but an even early game or like an even laning stage I think is not ideal for TSM. Let's see, how can they put... I think 8-minute rune is one of the next things they can try to play for, or maybe Tomato's level 6 with some cheeky Rupture and double support rotation.
Swiftly to the temple's defense.
Brown still being shadowed by a teammate here, but Makoto done a pretty good amount of damage to this tower.
Yeah.
As we're approaching the 8-minute rune, let's see if Bryle can get something. I think he's bottled 1 water rune this game.
I do like the TA response to the Storm. The panel touched on the Shard later, where you do get the silence. But similarly, when you play into Storm, Silencer, we saw a DK response earlier. I think it may have been LGD. I don't know if it worked out for them, but it looked good. You have like this innate tanky hero, as he already forces Whitemon to TP out, which he will barely make happen.
Another rune for Makoto.
Shield rune. He's already, yeah, they cannot touch
Bryle's like, come on, guys, please.
It's something very similar in both these games where Makoto is just kind of, he's untouchable in the mid lane. And he's like slowly but surely bodying Bryle out of the lane.
Yep.
It was worse in game 1, of course, with the Timber against Primal matchup. As down bottom, we have 3 heroes.
Yeah, but we have the Blood Right coming out. Echo Stomp
Good
is there
stomp
as
by
well. Telekinesis back onto the other side of the wall from Jabs. Looks like he is going to drop, and it's going to be a trade for Ahri. Tomato sped up quite a bit, but the Blood Grenade is going to slow him down along with the sticky napalm. The lasso just in range as Ollie gets off the Echo Stomp, and a couple more right clicks will suffice. Double kill for Mr. Ollie.
I mean, that was the right play for TSM, trying to use all of the correct heroes in the right place at the right time, but Ollie kind of saw it early on, was there in the right place at the right time, Stomp delaying the fight. Talon get themselves a good turnaround with a level 6 on bat at, what, minute 840?
Yeah, in the last couple games, the supports for Talon have been very over-leveled.
Yeah. He's only 1,000 gold away from Blink. He's also close to, he's higher level than Tomato on the bat. Who did TP down here, so he has to be a little careful.
So Talon definitely with the lead here, but compared to last game, not even remotely close to how much they were down. It was almost 5K, I think, around this time. Game number 1.
Kasane is doing great up in the top lane, of course. As we touched on, he had this first blood. He's ahead there. As looks like TSM are going for a smoke. They know that there's a lot of pressure down in this bottom area, but they'll have to be careful about who they run into. I think if these 2 heroes run into the TA, I don't know if they can do that much to it. But Ollie, different story.
Yep, he is found, and he is killed. There we go, as Jabs.
Oh, good rupture.
Rupture coming out from Tomato as well. Blood Right to follow.
Very good.
The Fiend's Gate being used by Kasane to help out in this engagement. It's already a 2-for-1 in favor of TSM. Makoto pops the shield rune, so he's invulnerable. Tomato now running away. Bryle out of mana now, but they're not going to go chase him any further. 4 stacks of sticky napalm, and the lasso will be the death of Tomato. So double kill from Makoto. And started out as a pretty good engagement for TSM, but I think Talon still be happy with this.
Not a nice trap by Makoto.
Looks like Ahri's Dunzo.
Yep, they can just tank through it. I mean, there's definitely one thing. If I'm playing Bloodseeker, one of the heroes there's 2 heroes I don't want to play against that are like top 5 worst matchups. And Bad Red and Medusa are like kind of 2 of them.
Okay.
So it's not looking too hot.
What are the other 3?
I don't know. Putting me on the spot here.
Back in the day, it was Nyx, but I don't think that's the case anymore.
I don't think you really care about Nyx so much. Faceless Void. It's another one.
Faceless Void, okay.
But yeah, Talon doing some good stuff. I mean, TSM
the rest of the game to pick the other 2, by the way.
Wait, what?
Yep, the rest of the game to pick the other 2.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Top 5.
Thank you. We'll get there. As I mean, 23 Savage is going to start jungling, because laning against this Underlord is just kind of not what you want to do. It's going to deny like at least 2 CS every wave, but this Crimson Guard coming up, I think, has to be one of the timings that TSM have to play for.
Yeah.
Both Global Silence plus that, and try to avoid Kasane dying to the bat, which...
Talon, they actually want to try to defend this? The tower is going to die one way or the other. Will they get Kasane? He's shadowed by a couple members. Nice vacuum into the wall as Whitemon trying to finish off Q. They do get Kasane. So 2 members of TSM drop. They get the tower, but it costs them.
They've got the Mac up, 5k gold again. 5k lead. It turned from 1k into 5 within like 3 minutes. Q even being higher level than Jabs. Has the Blink flying out already as well. So yeah, TSM's timings is global Crimson Guard. If that doesn't give them a lot, then they're not in a good spot.
But are the other members of their squad ready to fight?
Bryle,
mainly the cores.
Bryle has to kind of join. Like when global is ready, it doesn't really matter what items you have. They need to try to use this timing. Global at least makes, you know, all of the enemy heroes not cast any spells. Go for a smoke, try to get 1 kill, and back off. Allow Tomato to have space on the map as Bryle running straight into them.
Oh no! Okay.
That's a dirty surprise.
Yeah. That is not great for Bryle. I mean, I will say his start would have been way better if he didn't miss that 1 hit mid.
True.
That changes so much. It's actually crazy to think about.
They would be up 5k gold right now.
Well, maybe not that much.
Close. As I have seen this before from Makoto. It was Talon specifically. In SCA they go this Dragonlance into Chrysalis and they don't build Desolator. I still don't fully understand why, so there must be something that obviously I don't know. But he will still have great timings. Dragonlance, Chrysalis, by the time 15-minute comes by, he's gonna have the Shard. Maybe it's just some cheaper stuff, so you can still have like all this little bonus damage and the Shard at 15 as jabs.
Yeah, Bryle has to use a good portion of his mana just to catch up to jabs.
Telekinesis
is
Rupture.
just in time. Rupture now.
Global.
He's gonna pop the mech to keep him alive a little bit longer, but
Good
eventually
kill.
TSM do find their target.
Very, very, very needed kill on the map right now.
Radiant structures are
Active Room probably gonna go into the hands of Makoto. Gonna be an illusion.
Going very early Shard too.
I like it. We're gonna get some random Rubik that you find, you silence him, like Bryle accidentally like zips into far on a trap that's already there, or
Can't even buy it yet anyway, even if he had money.
Well, he'll buy it in 40 seconds.
Yeah.
He knows what he wants. Don't blame him. A decisive man.
And I will say, this is one hero in the TA that can actually take the Tormentors. And you see that they actually, I mean, the fact that you don't have to bring multiple heroes there,
it's great.
You actually see them take it at a decent time.
I mean, that's like some of the best heroes, right? The ones that can like kind of help your team. I mean, Ursa was great, but Ursa is just
so Ursa
super hard
TA, I think they fixed Enchantress.
They
right?
fixed Enchantress, yes. And any hero that does it from like outranging, so to say.
So is there any other hero that can solo?
Jug is still good.
Bryle.
There's Makoto in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, oh, get the first rotation from 23 Savage. Forgot there was a Medusa in this game.
There's the lasso again.
And they kill off Bryle right off the bat. And now Kasane pops that Crimson Guard. Let's see how much it's going to keep him alive. It doesn't. 3 members of TSM get crushed.
Well, Crimson Guard is good against 2 of the cores, but there's still a lot of mixed damage. I mean, you have Darkseer with pure magic, you have ET with a lot of it, you have Bad Rider as well. You of course have the ET Spirit that's also lowering some of your resistances. Makoto got himself a Blink Dagger, he's just gonna get the Shard later. And 7k, 15 minutes. TSM need a miracle or something. Like even here, they try to get Makoto low, but all these refractions, bottle charges, magic wands, they just get the lasso again, and it's just can't do much. Great stomp again as well from Ollie.
Yep, good TP rotation. Talon.
Split shot was stolen there.
What's that?
Split shot.
It was. You can steal split shot.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Yeah, he had it just now.
Why can you steal that?
To make it harder to steal Stone Gaze, I guess. So you can toggle the. There you go. Toggle shield, toggle split shot.
I mean, originally the old split shot you definitely could not steal. I remember that vividly, but interesting.
Well, now you can.
Sometimes they make exceptions for these things, but yeah. I learned something today, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
That's
I
a
knew
very
you wouldn't
useless
be
spell to get.
I knew you wouldn't see it.
Scanning.
9k lead for Talon.
Plus a DD rune to make things worse. Stompy Stomp does connect.
The Rubik will have to sit this out for a bit. Makoto not interested in going in any further, but like you said, does have the gap closed now in the Blink Dagger.
It's very good patience by him. He doesn't see too much, so jumping too far there, like for some random Rubik kill, you're up 9k gold, like killing Rubik once more and putting yourself in danger is not worth it.
Ollie is very fast.
He's just getting in there.
Not put on the cliff though. He's going to get initiated on, but the double damage activated now from Makoto. Deletes Bryle off the face of the map. Whitemon is next. Ari will be third. Not a triple kill, but 3 kills nonetheless for Talon.
Oh, it just keeps getting worse.
It's starting to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, pit back to mid, baby. And get that wave. Damn. Even, like, he got to squeeze in the lasso right before the global. You're gonna lose all your towers. You're gonna lose Roche. I don't know what TSM is gonna be able to defend.
You talked about, and the panel did, if they get to the 20, what was it, 20-something mark, and it's even, that's very bad for
Yeah, I
TSM.
said 15 even, not good. So 15, 10k behind, also not so good.
Very not good.
Oh, look at the ET. Bam! Just clapping him.
I'm glad the Elder Titan's coming back now.
Yeah, Briefcase Man is always very good to watch.
I do miss the occasional core Briefcase Man, though.
I agree with that.
Kasane, he's going to be spotted. Silence comes out from the trap. Newly picked up Shard from Makoto. Pops the Crimson, and that scares them off. But Whitemon, he was there a moment ago.
Oh, happy birthday.
Very painful birthday for him. He's going to remember this for years to
Oh,
come.
he might. Yeah, this is similar to like the last game. I don't think you have that many. It's not as much on you here if you're TSM as Q. Looking for another play. Easy silence, slow flame break. It's gonna fly on top of him. Don't even need to use the lasso. God-like for Makoto.
Yeah, he is owning. How much of a difference would that first death have made?
Everything.
That mischance has just made the game for Makoto.
Yeah, Talon's so lucky, lol.
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Now they can try to target somebody. I mean, actually, a bit surprised they have not gone for Roche yet, because they do have a good Roche team.
You don't want to go back on the map, Shannon.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Now they'll go Roche later. They're owning the map, I think, enough. Once they feel like TSM is stepping so far back that if they go on anyone, they would have to dive somewhere. They'll just be like, okay, let's just go Roche. As Tomato, he's gonna try to just scrape his BKB into this game. He is basically one creep away from it. As Bryle, not so happy.
Oh, might have time? No.
Nice flame break.
And 23 set. This is a hero we have not talked about. We saw him join one fight with Stone Gaze, and other than that, 23 Savage has been farming. Farming.
Which hero?
Medusa.
I didn't see him yet.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, that one. Okay. Right on the screen.
Oh, look, he has Skadi soon.
Yeah.
He could probably go AFK and then win the next fight.
You think so?
He could A-click.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Not like A-click anywhere.
Well, not if it's the fountain, I think. The enemy
Okay, then maybe not. But then he'll stop at the tier 3 or at the tier 2.
True.
Okay, 3-man smoke from TSM. You gotta. I think the Q has to die. This Bad Rider is doing some illegal stuff in this game. He's level 13. He's higher net worth than Bryle. Kill this man. 3-0-14. Get this guy out of the game. This is one of their best kills for sure. But it looks like Talon are reading the move and maybe taking the Tormentor at minute 20 at the same time.
That's my boy right there, Mr. Makoto. Double meld incoming.
Bam.
Doesn't need any teammates. In fact, it actually becomes worse if there's teammates because they take all the damage.
He actually took 200 damage, huh? That's pretty nice.
Ollie gets the shard. Is that the...
You swap places.
Yeah, so that means you can get the minus physical armor, right?
Yeah, with the level 1 aura, very strong.
Eventually he'll get there. And actually there's not even a Deso like you talked about, so it's not. It's just Meld and the Blightstone, I guess, which is in
I
his
did say there
backpack.
wouldn't be a Deso.
Well, he looks like he's going BKB.
Yeah, I said there would not be a Desolate.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said that you said that.
Okay. Sorry, misunderstood. Yeah. Just got some...
English not first language?
Yeah, we've got some problems here in the casting room, guys. I saw a Solar Crest on the Darkseer. Is that correct? Hold up. I think it's flying out.
All right, we'll see.
It is, and I love it.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he could probably RNG his item at this point. I think Blink is good. No, but the Solar Crest is great, because your Medusa and your TA, they can just frontline. You pop the Solar Crest on them. Like, you don't need some fancy item. Just do something for your team.
Smoke. Nice Pit of Malice.
Good Rupture.
Onto Q. Gets off the lasso, though. He's going to live through the Rupture for a long time, and then the Vacuum comes out.
Kill this man.
Trying to get to the other side. Kasane's left all alone, and he will die. And somehow Q remains alive.
He actually
Wymon's
lived,
going to get dropped by Makoto now. Stone Gaze not really being effectively used here. Could have been a lot worse, but I cannot believe Q lived.
I think he abused the terrain pretty nicely there. I believe that Tomato didn't get any hits off on him, really. It was mainly the Rupture, or maybe 1 or 2 hits, but either way, yeah, him not dying there is sad. I think
that's
sad.
one way to put it.
Yeah, I think sad is one way to put it. So there's some Guardian Greaves, a Surge, he's chilling, a good Flame Break. He didn't even use Stone Gaze to save him. 47 is like, well, if you die, bro, you die.
Yeah, your support,
Oh,
bro.
there it is. To chase.
Yeah, for the movement speed.
Classic carry players.
Now Roche is eventually going to be taken here. So Talon.
Oh, the zip though.
With
It's
a way
good
to
sound.
slow down, actually, was pretty
It
nice.
was actually very sick.
You know, what if there's like a sound effect in the, you know how they had those records back in the day where you play them backwards and it says like a special message? Yeah. What if you slow something down in Dota and they left an Easter egg for us?
Ooh.
You know?
That's what we have to find out.
Surely
next fight, slow down, please. We have a gem on Talon now. Once again, just if you're ahead in the game, you want to close down the map. Gem is great for you. Try to get all these wards out that the enemies have to place in order to try and dodge you accordingly. Flame break now stolen by Rubik. Not that anyone cares, as Ari is dead anyway after stealing it.
Yep. Unfortunate.
Unlucky.
And now Talon can just play methodically, taking out these outer towers.
Run!
Okay, Tomato has to pop the BKB. Gets the Rupture off onto Q. We've seen this story before. Bloodrise being there.
Oh,
the silence actually connects. And the lasso, the Storm Spirit. Oh, Bryle, another Flame Break. But he gets the zip just in time. And the Crimson Guard
good vacuum into the Stone
mitigation to get away. Whitemon inside the wall. Kasane trying to run away, but he is slowed to a crawl. This Scotty doing absolute work. So Bryle at the very least doesn't die, but Talon still don't lose any members. They're going to get the tier 2, and I mean, surely you get the Tormentor.
Surely.
Surely.
Nah, they just go high
Well,
ground.
you could just try to go high ground first. And
But
then
if they defend, then you go back to the Tormentor.
Yeah.
And that was a clutch silence by Mikoto. He knows what's coming. I mean, the only way Q dies there is if they commit more. You drop the trap, he gets a silence, and the GG.
Called.
I don't blame them. I don't think they don't have a chance anymore.
Yeah.
21k down to 24. The super fat Medusa TA. I mean, Talon just kind of put on a clinical performance in both these games.
Yeah, this... I don't know if TSM is struggling. Their record obviously isn't the greatest right now. It's not like they haven't won a game or anything. But this series was just not competitive at all. I don't know if... Do you think it's more TSM dropping the ball or Talon are just on another level?
Probably a mix of both. I think Talon's responses in the draft and also their gameplay in the lanes and how they're moving early on was, I'll say, very crisp in these two games. But I think with a lot of...
Sorry to interrupt. Bryle's definitely thinking with that missed hit.
The missed hit, yeah, changed a lot. I mean, a lot of these mid matchups too, they were very hard for TSM in these two games. Like, there's just not much to do when you play the Storm into TA. You're kind of losing. Your team can't really play through you. Game 1, you play Timber Primal. You can't do much there either. It's, I think it was very hard for TSM to try and find and set the tempo in this game, whereas it was just all Talon from start to finish in both games.
See, Talon very happy. Tomato bought Glacier. He'll be remembered.
He will be remembered.
He will be remembered in this series.
For the Iceberg.
They did lose both games, but yeah, I'm interested to, I'm excited to see what Talon can do, because they definitely have these spurts where they show a lot of promise in these tournaments. And I mean, it's been a while since we've seen, I'm trying to remember the last time that in a tier 1 tournament, an SCA team made it to like the finals, for example. They've gotten close.
Yeah.
And I think Talon are the best chance for SCA to get to that point, because they look really good in this series.
I mean, for sure, they're doing great. I think Q has been very impressive, especially in these games that we saw now. First the Clock, now the Bat, having some really sick performances. So yeah, Talon looking real good.
All right, and it sounds like Mr. Tsunami is ready for an interview with Talon.
That is right, I'm standing by with 23 Savage of Talon. Congratulations on this 2-0 victory. I got a chance to talk to you during Media Day, and you said that while not being able to attend Bali was unfortunate, you guys took some time to yourself. I was wondering if there's anything specific that you were able to do, that you were able to spend time with, that got your head in the right place as you came here to Riyadh.
I get to spend time with the girls I like. So it's really good. It's really happy.
Wait, you used that in plural. You mean singular or plural?
Singular.
Good answer.
أعزائنا المشاهدين، معانا في المسرح 23 سافج من فريق تالون. بعد ما شفنا جيم جدا عظيم منهم، كان صراحة ون سايد بشكل كبير، لكن سألنا أول سؤال إنه في البالي ميجر أدائكم ما كان مرة ممتاز. بعد ما خلصتوا منه شفنا فترة طويلة لكم، أخذتوا بريك وقدرتوا إنكم تراجعون كل أوراقكم من جديد، واليوم في الرياض أدائكم كان جدا رهيب. فوش الشيء اللي أنتم مريتوا فيه في الفترة هذه عشان توصلوا المرحلة هذه، وهل في شيء معين قدمتوه عشان تقدرون تكونون في الأداء هذا؟ قال الصراحة أنا كنت جالس مع الأشخاص اللي أحبهم، وهذا الشيء اللي ساعدني أكثر شيء.
I got a chance to talk to Arteezy earlier. I had a question about how 7.33 has affected the carry role. For you, I was curious, same thing, BKB got significant changes. I was wondering how you felt about BKB, debuff immunity, all that in the current patch.
I think at first it was kind of hard to play, but after that I get used. So you just need to adapt and get used.
Do you like it though, or do you prefer the old BKB?
I mean, I don't really care. I just play whatever the patch gives me.
زي ما تشوفون 23 سافج معنا في المسرح. سألناه السؤال الثاني في المقابلة. كان السؤال بكل بساطة يتكلم عن البي كي بي ايتم البف او الديبف اللي جاء بعد الباتش الاخير بعد ما تغير الاميونيتي وطريقته. هل الشيء هذا هو معه او ضده في اللعبة؟ بكل اختصار كان الجواب انه صراحة انا يعني اسوي ادابت على اي شيء ممكن يجيه يسويه في الباتش، وخصوصا انه في البداية انا ما حبيته بس اخذ مني وقت لما تعودت على الموضوع، بعدين قدرت اني اسويه او اتعامل مع الموضوع في الطريقة الاصح.
And same thing about the other objectives that were added, Tormentors, Twin Gates, Wisdom Runes. You have any strong feelings about any of them? Do you like them? Do you hate them?
I think it's good to have a Twin Tower because it makes the game has more dynamic. It's like you can make a lot of moves in like early games. And I think it just makes the game more interesting. So I like it.
ايضا سالنا 23 سافج عن موضوع الاشياء اللي صارت في الباتش الاخير، الاوبجكتيفز اللي تم اضافتها في اللعبه زي التورمنترز والويزدوم رونز وغيره. هل الشيء هذا هو مع او ضد التغييرات في الباتش؟ بكل بساطه كان الجواب انه لا، بالعكس، انه الشيء هذا كان بيخلي الجيم انترستنج اكثر وبيستمتعون فيه اكثر، بالذات التوين تاورز بيخليك يكون عندك فرصه انك تقدر انك تلعب اللعبه بطريقه يعني امتع، وبيكون في فرصه انه يعني يسوون بلايز ما كانوا يقدرون يسوونها قبل الباتش هذا.
And as for the most recent patch, 7.33e, finally nerfed your signature hero Morphling. Yeah, how do you feel about that? Because I can see one way, literally everybody was playing Morphling in the previous patch, whereas it used to be a special hero for you. How do you feel about it now?
Yeah, I think it's better now, so I can, you know, if I play and I win, I'll feel like I'm really good, because no one is playing it, so I like this more.
ايضا سالنا 23 سافج على موضوع الهيرو حقه الاساسي اللي هو مورفلينج. هو معروف السيجنتشر هيرو حقه دائما هو يلعب فيه، فبعد التغييرات اللي صارت في الباتش هل هو ايضا يعني مستمتع فيه اكثر ولا لا؟ خصوصا انه اغلب الناس الان ما عاد صار يلعبون فيه، فما عاد صار اللي هو يلعب فيه حاليا. كان الجواب انه بالضبط يعني الشيء هذا مخليني استمتع فيه اكثر، خصوصا انه اذا انا فزت في الشامبيون او في الطريقه هذه اللي هو يقدر يلعب فيها، الهيرو هذا بيقدر انه يؤدي فيها اداء مره كويس، بيقدر انه يعني يكون هو الشخص اللي يمثل الهيرو هذا بالطريقه الامثل.
23, congratulations on the 2-0 and looking forward to seeing you continue to cook in the rest of this tournament.
Thank you so much. Let him cook. Let him cook.
Let him cook.
يعطيكم العافيه اعزائي المشاهدين. نروح على طول للاستديو الان نتكلم عن اللي صار في الجيم الاخير، وهنا خلصنا من اليوم الثاني من الجروب ستيج. بالتوفيق ان شاء الله وش اللي ممكن يصير.
Thank you very much.
Let him cook indeed, although at this rate I'm not sure we can afford the electric bill because the man is cooking up way too much. TALON Esports grabbing a very clean 2-0, making it look not necessarily easy, but very clearly being able to understand their draft, understand what they need to do with their draft, and BSJ making it seem like when they're in this kind of form, how many teams in this tournament can stop them?
I mean, I'm fine to let this guy cook because they're looking like he's throwing some spices in there as well. As these drafts, I really enjoyed them. It's not only like we expressed our skepticism about TSM, but we also, like, this comes at the cost of not only TSM maybe fumbling a little bit, but I feel like TALON, every pick made so much sense. It all worked so well together, and it just put on a showcase for us today.
Yep, we can continue to see the rise, Lacoste, of this Elder Titan hero. We know that TALON is amazing with it. We'll also get to see them play a hero that other teams are struggling to utilize in the full role. This Templar Assassin, becoming more and more evident, it feels like, that this hero belongs in the mid lane. But when you put it mid, you have to have the correct supporting cost around it, and TALON seem to have understood the assignments on how to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. They know how to play with this hero. This is Mikoto's specialty, and he just popped off completely. Like, he was all over the place. They did a good job securing rune for him, and just pressuring the mid lane constantly, allowing him to like kill the early tower, rotate, get some extra kills, and ends up the game with 0 deaths. I mean, the whole squad, they don't seem like individuals. They definitely feel, you know, like a one unit moving together across the map.
Yep. He's not the only one with 0 deaths. The only heroes that died were Ollie and Jabs.
Look at these feeders.
Like, what are you doing? Fia, talk to me about this Darkseer hero. It's been on the rise, and I think right now it's the most successful offlaner in this particular tournament. What is it about Darkseer as a hero that makes it so good in this meta?
Well, there's a couple things. Like, now that a lot of the auras, like Underlord, we don't see be very successful, Darkseer seems to be one of those team fighters that builds the auras that is very good versus most of the carries right now. And it was already in the last patch. And then you have things like Enchantress getting nerfed a little bit too, which helps him, which was one of his strongest opponents in the laning stage. He just seems to be able to find a way to get out of the laning stage. That might have to do with the support meta too. We saw Q as well at level 1, getting the Firefly, cutting across the creep wave, taking all the attention away from the enemies. That way he could have a laning stage on jabs. If you can get out of the laning stage with Darkseer, this hero's always been good, and teams are getting better at figuring out how to make that happen. And there's also heroes that enable it a bit better.
Very much enabled within this game, and of course it enabled the side of Talon Esports to grab a victory, and it also enabled them to have the SCC play of this game. Some stellar performance coming in from them. This right here, it feels really, really bad when I see this, because you're in the situation, you're thinking to yourself, all right, boys, we might have somewhat of an advantage, we have the vision, but the moment you plop down this observer at BSJ, immediately, it feels like every hero is here. To make matters worse, you're dying so quickly to this TA, who's not even the real carry. Medusa's busy rising the mid lane for free.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't want to place that ward down. Then you just don't know for sure whether or not they're there, and yeah, otherwise you see exactly what's coming, your impending doom. But yeah, I mean, that's just a perfect, well-executed team fight with the lead they had. They secured it right there.
Very much secured from them. Very excellent play coming in from the side of Talon Esports, grabbing yet another 2-0. That's going to be putting them in very strong standing in the groups overall. Regrettably, Lacoste, this does mean TSM further struggles from them. What happened, dude? Like, day one was actually so decent.
Yeah, I mean, day one, sure, because they played maybe against, you know, some of the teams that are not as strong coming into this tournament, but it seems to be the story for TSM. They show up, they have like one good day, then you'll see them struggle, and they also don't have any like easy matchups coming up soon.
No easy matchups indeed from them. Of course, one of the matchups that was difficult was this Talon Esports game, and one of the reasons why it was so hard is not just because of good drafting from the side of Talon Esports, but stellar play coming in from the star mid laner of Makoto, who's going to be taking the Kadia MVP award. Did he do anything wrong for you? Is there anything you could outline that he could have done better in the series?
He probably missed a CS in the mid lane at some point. You know, I'd have to go back to the replay and check it, but could be wrong.
I'd like to call that out. It's not CSing that comes in lane. He already had a rampage, and he got his last hit on the kill stolen by an Undying. That's like 180 damage nuke. Like, what is this? Come on.
All jokes aside, though, like I think he did the most important thing that he could do versus TSM: shut down Bryle. And Bryle, we talked about it in pregame. He has to have a good game for TSM to look good. Both games, Bryle just didn't have his game. Primal Beast completely shut down. Storm also completely shut down. That last game, his Storm Spirit, every single hero on Talon did more hero damage than the mid Storm Spirit. So he really had a rough game.
I didn't know that stat. I don't know if anybody at home needed to hear that.
It seems like the prep that they do, like the coach, it seems like they're just doing a very good job prepping for every single series, every single game. They seem to know, like when you see them picking, every single pick does make a lot of sense. Like maybe not right now, but when you see like other two picks and some of the bench are like, oh yeah, this is why, you know. And when you see the whole draft, you're like, this is a really strong draft.
Yeah. When you're speaking about their drafts, actually, was there anything that stood out to you as the most creative thing that they did today that you were like, oh, you would never have expected Talon to do this, but somehow they pull it out?
I think the TA on 8. I actually think like having the audacity to pick that, despite the fact that the hero's not representing a very good win rate right now. And then we also saw like the Medusa on 9. That was a pick where I didn't even consider it, and then right when I saw it, I was just like, you know, chef's kiss for that one.
We'll also get to see a situation where, regrettably, Radiant's second pick finds itself with it another loss. I'm not actually sure why, honestly. I've been trying to puzzle through why this is the case, that all these games have Radiant first pick, and the times when it's not Radiant first pick, Radiant side loses. So I'm still going to try to figure it out. We're still going to try to see what's going on in this particular tournament. Of course, we still have a few more days to try and figure that out as we wrap up the second day of group stage action. Before we go, though, we still have a few more pieces of business to address. One of them, of course, being our KFC Colonel's Choice play of the day. A truly miraculous and incredible piece of Dota action that we got to see happen here. The thing I like about this one is that, you know, we get to see, you mentioned it earlier, BSJ, the fact that he did not buy a BKB on this Faceless Void. He gets to go in and out of the fight, making sure that this just takes as long as humanly possible for LGD to isolate and kill him. If I'm LGD, I'm tilted to the moon and back, honestly, this happened to me.
This is just like superior vision of the game. Like this Team Spirit really showcased today how they won TI in the sense that like they all were on the same page with their itemizations. Every single core built to live through the initial burst and like out-sustain an IO draft, which is not a very standard approach, but when you see the Axe Sky, it makes a lot more sense.
Of course, Shiro, Morphling God, not able to utilize the hero to its full impact, to its full effect. And LGD just in general have been struggling, but they did play really well. Something about them against Team Spirit makes everybody level up with
absolutely. When these two giants meet, you know that there's going to be good Dota. In the first game, it's hard to watch every single game throughout this tournament because there are multiple streams running, but this first game, for me, this is the best game that I've seen so far.
Yeah. What did you think, Phil? Anything that's come to mind that was better than Game 1 of LGD versus Spirit?
Oh, I mean, maybe Game 2. I don't know. They both are like really good games. They're both really close and back and forth, and you can tell there's like a lot of history between these teams. They're definitely like walking on eggshells. They're making sure they make as little mistakes as possible, not being too cocky. Then you get two teams playing very cautiously, and you're bound to get these games where mistakes will happen because of that, because you're just being a little more conservative, playing for that team fight, and you get an entertaining game because of it.
It was very entertaining, and then to buttress his points about how entertaining it was, our El Habib save of the day comes from this particular game as well. As you would imagine, this circumstance when a Juggernaut just lost Aegis, right? This shows how good LGD was. Figuring out the exact timing, they kill him off, the most farmed hero on the map without buyback. Under normal conditions, the game is over. It's done. But somehow, Team Spirit understand the assignment.
This Lion has been doing some extra work. He's putting in extra hours because that mana drain with the shard on multiple targets, like they did not have enough to actually go in and cast their abilities. So instant hex, a lot of control, and also standing in the middle of the fight, just being able to remove their mana completely and managing to win a game when there's like your throne is dying. All they need is like extra 5 seconds maybe of hitting, but he's the one controlling the whole fight.
And the save, that was on the throne. The throne got saved in this game.
I was not thinking that, but that's pretty. Yeah, that's the most important save of all.
Yeah, it saves the entire game.
Saved the game. Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, the game is 100% lost. Yeah. Like I'm sure if you replay that exact situation over and over again 100 times, right? That happens once again. Like it's incredible how that can happen. But once is all you need, right?
Yeah.
And they make it happen for themselves. Al Habib will be very proud of them, you know. They took PSG LGD to the clinic, saved themselves in the process, and ensured that they got themselves a W there. So Team Spirit certainly showing some TI level quality there, in the same vein as Talon Esports just demonstrated in their matchup against TSM. Of course, all of these games did happen here on the A stream, so if you aren't aware of what's been happening elsewhere within the Riyadh Masters, we have our man Jenkins on the ground ready to give us the update.